Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, where we're not just some kind of podcast. We're ex-Marines. We're trained killers, and we'll send every last one of you guys to hell before we desert that kid. I'm your host, Ryan Icy, and with me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how are you doing on this fine Sunday morn?
I'm doing great. What a couple. What a week, actually. I can't even say like what a couple hours, 24 hours, day. It's been a hell of a week. Lots going on in the world of wrestling. This episode was packed last week. It just feels kind of a bit more packed this week with the fallout of everything. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about it all.
Yeah, I messaged you beforehand. I was like, we got a pretty good show. I wouldn't be shocked if we have like pretty big news that blows up in the next 24 hours. And it's not that we have like big news because it's obviously related to Elimination Chamber, but we do have like massive like wrestling topic to discuss, I guess, coming out of Elimination Chamber. We got a lot to talk about. Obviously, I hope everyone had a good week. I had a good, enjoyable week of wrestling as well, Scotty. Starting off with Fantastica Mania, Stardom even had a good, well, I'm not gonna say good show, but like good last four matches that I saw. You know what I mean. you know what I mean. I think the week was a good week of wrestling, and knowing that we have the New Japan Cup upcoming this week and Revolution. And I guess we also have the Cinderella tournament, whatever those. I assume those participants will be announced tomorrow, probably. We have a lot of stuff coming up. CML had Takeshita on the show on Friday. There's been a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff.
March is a big month.
Oh yeah,
March is a big month.
We are gonna have like loaded shows. I think now be forever, probably for the entire month of March. I think we're gonna have a loaded topic to discuss every single day. I mean, even then, like, I'm looking at the calendar right now. It's like the 23rd. It's like we're reviewing the New Japan Cup finals. We're reviewing the CMLL Dos Leyendas show, their big time show. We're gonna have like a mask versus mask match. Someone's gonna lose a mask on that show. And yeah, I think the 30th actually is gonna be the only like lighter one, and that's because there's not really much to talk about other than previewing Sakura Genesis and Dynasty. So even then, we'll have a whole lot to discuss in March. And we're starting off strong here, Scotty, because of course we're going to talk about Revolution next week. We're going to talk about the 53rd anniversary show for New Japan next week. Stardom has a big time show, in my opinion, at Korakuen Hall tomorrow. Even though it is a Korakuen Hall show, it's a big time story moment show. We'll talk about that in a moment. And Elimination Chamber took place last night. And, I have opinions on Elimination Chamber and the quality of it. But the big time story, obviously, is the angle that came out of Elimination Chamber, where John Cena has officially turned heel once again. Let the record show, of course, if people don't remember, he was heel many, many, many years ago. Talking about that now on patreon.com/CountOutPod. But John Cena has officially turned heel. He is sidelined with The Rock and Travis Scott for some reason to not only win the Elimination Chamber and face Cody, but now be the quote-unquote corporate champion. His soul is owned by WWE and the final boss. And John Cena has turned heel. Scotty, talk to me. What were your thoughts about watching this angle? What are your thoughts contemplating it afterwards? Give me your feelings. Give me your thoughts, your emotions, because I know, Scotty, as a big fan of John Cena, I'm sure you have some emotions here.
It was complete shock. It's one of those things that you're like, they'll never do it. They'll never do it. Why would we do it now? He's retiring.
Never considered it for the Elimination Chamber stuff. Never considered
not even a second. I thought they'd just pivot the person that faced Cody instead of do this. So much of the fear this week was that John Cena was going to face Logan Paul. That was the fear of everyone, right? I don't think John Cena's ever going to face Logan Paul now based on what happened, because no one's ever going to cheer for Logan Paul. I was in complete shock. It was one of those things where I was kind of on cloud nine post elimination, the men's elimination chamber match for various reasons. And the moment he makes that face during the hug, and you're just like, oh my God. And then you watch the beat down, you watch what happens, and you watch them walk away, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? I don't even know what I have watched it a few times. Um it was a sensational angle. Like period, point blank. This angle was everything that you want. Like for me, this angle is everything you want American wrestling specifically to be. You want that wow factor. You want that, as they say, a memory. This will be a memory. This is not going to be forgotten. This is John Cena turning heel in his retirement year, going side by side with The Rock. And, I sat there and I thought about it and I thought about it. I was like, I mean, what a feather in the cap for Cody freaking Rhodes, by the way. He's the one babyface that got The Rock and John Cena to both turn heel in the year.
I didn't think about it like that, but that is a great point.
It's like insane. It's just insane. Like I could have never imagined.
He's a strong enough baby face that can allow Cena to be heel.
I've jokingly said over the past,
I guess remains to be seen, to be fair, but
2 years, I've jokingly said it over the past 2 years. Oh, John Cena is the new. I mean, Cody Rhodes is the new John Cena. It's not a joke anymore. Very clearly, he is, and I don't know. It was amazing. It truly was like such a good angle. I don't think I've seen anyone like hate it. I think it's mostly been like shock, if anything, like just realize this man did a Make-A-Wish before this show. And then did this, and the press conference where he just drops the mic and leaves. I'm fascinated to see where it goes. It's one of those things where, like, for the first time ever, when Triple H said like the industry changing show, it actually was true for once. He didn't lie. Congratulations. It's amazing. It was truly like so good, so well done. Between this and the 5 minutes of wrestling I got between John Cena and CM Punk, I don't think I've liked a WWE thing in like this much since I was probably a kid. Like that's how great those two things were for me. I don't know, and obviously it's all about the follow up. We have that discussion all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's The Rock and Cena. Like,
and at this point,
and Cody,
we got to throw in
Cody. Like, who am I to expect anything but this working? Right? Like, I don't know. I'm excited for Cena to be serious again too. That's something that I think people haven't kind of thought about. He's going to be serious now? He played it so well too. Like, no, don't do it. In the background while him and Rock are talking, and I thought everyone played their role well. Even Travis Scott, who slapped the shit out of Cody.
Cody afterwards be like, "Man, what a receipt!" Like, I don't know what was that for, man.
Yeah, like so good. It was just so good.
Travis Scott is going to go down as an insane trivia fact as part of this angle. Just like, who was the third man who turned heel on Cody Rhodes at the Elimination Chamber 2025? Travis Scott, but of course, how could we forget?
But of course.
Yeah, I thought the angle, in terms of the story itself, I saw some people notice that if you went back to the Royal Rumble press conference, you had John Cena talking about
connecting the dots.
Yeah, there's some dot connections there where it's John Cena talking about how I'm gonna enter. He's the only one that doesn't qualify. To be fair, it's John Cena. That's why everyone can ignore it. He's like, "Am I qualifying?" And he ends his sentence by saying, "It's what's best for business." And flash forward to here, and you're like, "Yeah, that it makes sense then for him to be there."
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I think like in the chamber, he's still playing a little babyface in terms of like Rollins and
Oh, absolutely.
Punk.
You're still playing John Cena.
Yeah, and I that's the part of it that we'll move forward and see how that turns out.
Mhm.
And we'll talk about that in a moment. But I I I don't, Scotty, I'm a little conflicted about it. I'm not going to be the negative Nancy or the negative Nancy, if you will. Uh, I'm conflicted about it because I thought the angle was cool, and I did enjoy that it happened, but I'm conflicted because one, the crowd really loved it, and I'm and the wrestling, not wrestling purist, because that's a different brand. The wrestling pundit in me is like, well, then the angle didn't turn because the crowd cheered and he's turning heel, right? And then then the next thought comes back in my head of like, but it's WWE. The last several people that have turned heel, big time stars that have turned heel, all get cheered. Roman Reigns, The Rock, John Cena,
Yeah, I
people that
think
are,
it's
and especially like
shock
it.
too.
I think shock as well. I think there's also the other big part of people have really wanted this heel turn.
Yeah,
I don't know, a decade, really.
longer
Uh,
than that.
yeah, it's like you can probably go longer, but at least a decade. And so ultimately, this is much like Dave Bautista. This is giving people what they want.
Yeah.
Um, and again, the wrestling pundit in me is like, well, then that it's not a good turn because
Nah, can't think that way these days.
I know that, but that's the part of my brain that's conflicted of like, but it can't, but that's not how it should in all these sort of things. But it's like, because I wouldn't be shocked because the question I have moving forward, seeing that is, can John Cena truly get the crowd to boo him? And I think he can because he is John Cena and he used to do this.
Yeah.
And by the way, be phenomenally great heel back in the day. Again, patreon.com/counterpod, hustle, loyalty, retrospect. But this is also a new era where like the heel that John Cena was would 100% have been cheered in 2025. The prototype heel would have
Would have
been
been
cheered.
cheered was he did it a decade ago.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm saying if you took the prototype and put
Yeah,
him in today, he would probably end up being cheered just because of the type
yeah.
of the high
I
charisma level.
I have my pitch for how he should handle this.
Well, let me finish my thought before you get that because I that is the next big thing. Not Brock, not we're not talking Brock Lesnar. Um, I so I did enjoy it. I did like it. There is the confliction within me of like the crowd booing him and turning on him is going to be. I,
It's a
I think
challenge.
I think it's going to be a challenge. It's obviously a
It's
challenge that John Cena wants and is willing to go through
very
and
much
try to
so.
do. I
It
I
feels like his biggest challenge possible for this last run.
Correct, and I think Triple H made mention of it last night at the presser as well. Of this is something that he's going out swinging and wants to do something. Now there is a part of me that's like, then you only got like basically 9 months to go through this entire arc because there's no way we're ending this of John Cena as a heel.
No,
Um,
no, he'll be cheered by the end.
so this there's an element of this feeling fast,
Yeah.
but I'm on board of the story. I am with it. There is just the part of me that there isn't confliction, and I think the other part of it, the confliction for me as well, is whereas I do like it, I do like the
Mhm.
pairing of him with The Rock. I do think there is logical sense with him with The Rock, and less so The Rock, but the idea of like Cena being someone that has sold his soul to the company,
Yeah,
whereas where Cody has sold his soul to the fans. I
yeah,
think that is the bigger story element. The Rock is the final boss. The Rock is just the embodiment of WWE, of TKO, if you will.
mhm.
Um, there's logical sense. There is an aspect of me when I saw that heel turn and saw Cena turn and The Rock standing there, all these sort of things, and not engaging. There's a part of me that's just like Cena looks second to The Rock, and there's an element of like it's John Cena. He shouldn't be that, but at the same time, I like it and I want to see how it turns out.
Yeah,
So that again, there are things grinding up against me less than 24 hours after watching the angle and watching the turn that I haven't yet processed, but I'm willing to figure it out and
yeah.
willing to watch it as it unfurls.
it feels like one of those things where you actually just have to sit and process it because it wasn't believable
Yeah.
until it happened, right?
Yeah.
Still kind of doesn't feel believable. Like here, I'll give it for instance. My friend is in London, so he couldn't watch the show, but he's like, just text me like whatever happens because I don't feel like looking it up. And I didn't text him the whole night. I was like, I'll just give him like a rundown. And then when that happened, I was like, John Cena turned heel. That's all you need to know. And
Yeah.
he was just like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's mental. Like it's insane to think it happened.
Like people compare it obviously to like Stone Cold siding with Vince and Hulk Hogan's turn,
Yeah,
which I think is totally fair. It's the biggest star,
right.
one of the biggest stars of generations that have been babyface for a very long time and then turn heel.
Yeah,
Obviously,
this is different from both.
Stone Cold less babyface more compared to the two of them, but you know what I mean.
Right. The
Uh,
the reason
I only bring that up also is because it's like going back to my confliction, like those both got booed and this got cheered, and it's just like I think that's more of a testament of like
I don't think the
the I
cheers were that there though. Like
I
I've listened to it back.
I'll take your word
It's
for it.
like
In
it's
the
a little
moment, it
bit of
felt like they were
both. It's
cheers.
shock.
Yeah, that might
Again,
be
it's
more fair.
shock. There's something about current wrestling fans that if you're there for a moment,
Which WWE
you
fans are certainly there for a
right,
moment.
you have an appreciation for it, so you react that way.
Yeah.
Again, it's gonna be a matter of who's over in the end, and I think Cody was gonna be the guy over in the end,
Yes.
in terms of the baby face. For me, also with the angle, I think it's different because you have to also remember this is John Cena retiring.
Yes. That's also a big
He
part
has
of it.
made this pivot. He has made this decision with months to go in his wrestling career.
Hmm.
It is the biggest attempt of his career.
Yeah.
And it's one that, you know what, if it doesn't work out, he'll be fine. You know why? Because he'll just be John Cena by the end of this. No
Hmm.
matter what. Even if it does work out, if it doesn't, he'll be John Cena by the end of this. It's gonna feel fast. It's gonna honestly, I think he's heel till SummerSlam, probably.
Surely. Yeah.
And then, he loses the title. I think you have to have him
But
win the title
loses
to
the
keep it.
title. That means you're thinking he's winning the title at
I think
WrestleMania.
that's the only way it works.
I agree.
I think that's the only way it works is he has to win and then lose it, obviously. And then from there, you could see him go back or whatever. But I will also say this. They have one hell of a tag match if they want it for SummerSlam night 1.
Uh-huh.
Just saying. And that, of course, is Rock and Cena versus Punk and not Punk. Well, Punk would work too, but Rhodes and Reigns. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's a big ass tag match right there.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to get Rock and Cena tagging once out of this.
Yeah, I know. You have The Rock saying that like I'm basically a non-playable character. I don't have to wrestle anymore.
Right.
You gotta get The Rock to do a
You
tag match at
gotta.
least. Come on.
He
Like
doesn't have to
that
do much if it's a tag.
because that ultimately could be the SummerSlam night
Yeah.
1 or we have night 1, night 2 of SummerSlam this year. You could literally do what you did at WrestleMania last year. Do The Rock and Cena
Easily.
versus Cody and Seth Rollins to eat the pin. Or what just I don't know. Punk makes sense or I don't
Rhodes
Punk,
ate the pin last year, to be fair.
good point. Good point. And you could just do that, and have
You could
Punk
do
in there.
Punk, you could do Reigns, you could do one of those two makes sense.
You can do Randy Orton for old time's sake.
Could do that. That's the
I-
thing with John
I would-
Cena, though. There's legitimately so many options.
Yeah. And him being heel does, I think, allow for more of that.
Yeah.
In terms of it's the thing of like, okay, this is gonna sound like a negative dunk on AEW from a registered freakazoid,
Holy,
apparently.
buckle up. I'm buckled up. This is the first time ever, guys. Here we go.
It's the kind of the John Cena heel turn, weirdly enough to me, knowing that like him being heel opens him up more to like a bunch of face
Mhm.
versus heel John Cena dynamic matches moving forward. It is the kind of heel turn that we would never get in AEW. Not never get, but because AEW, which I think is also a good thing, advertises dream matches. And with John Cena, you could have just advertised dream match after dream match after dream match and be the retirement thing. But by doing a heel turn that and doing the heel face alignment and hard nosed heel face alignment that WWE does a lot more, it forces this more where it's like you can have a dream match, but now you have this additional story on top of it. AEW can eventually do one of these things down the road, but they need to have a guy that's like babyface forever, like Orange Cassidy, who eventually turns heel. But he is also, to be fair, not as big of a star as Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, obviously John Cena. But it is that thing of like, you could have just done John Cena versus Punk versus Randy.
Right.
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily want to say it,
though.
But you could have done all these babyface matches versus John Cena and just advertise them a dream match. But now that you have this heel element, at least for sub 9 months, you have to. I don't know when that's going to happen, but there is this element of there is additional thing on top of everything moving forward that makes everything I think more interesting.
I think the other thing I thought about is you have to also remember Cena's story going into all this, right? He hasn't been able to win.
Yes, he's a big old loser.
Big old loser. So how does he change that? He sells his soul, right, to win again.
Now I will say about that part, he did win the chamber before the match.
But Rollins helped, which honestly, I think they need to include Rollins into something now because I just watched Rollins essentially set Cena up to become the Rock's guy.
Yeah.
Which is a very funny, they won't touch it. I know they won't because that's Punk, Rollins, and Roman.
It feels like Rollins, Punk, Roman, WrestleMania.
Every decision that Seth Rollins makes has a bad effect on the company. It's very funny. It's a continuous cycle that I think is very noticeable. In terms of Cena playing heel, and by the way, I think Cena versus babyface Randy Orton, while might not interest many people,
Bjorn in the chat brought up that exact moment.
It is a fascinating dynamic that honestly I think would work very well because one, they're just going to be John Cena and Randy Orton, and two, I mean, did you see the Randy Orton segment yesterday? You kind of forget how over this guy is as a babyface every time he comes back.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. In terms of Cena
that being said, the slowest match in the history of slow matches got to be Randy Orton versus a whole John Cena.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. You couldn't be more right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's a different. Oh yeah. But the crowd will be into it. And that's all that matters. Anyways, for WWE, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
In terms of Cena being a heel, I've thought about this, continuously thought about this since the moment he turned. And I was like, what does this look like? I was like, is he going to wear pants? Is that what's going to happen?
I was just about to say 100% he should drop the jorts.
So there's that. I think there's the pivot of completely changing.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's the pivot of I'm still John Cena, fucking deal with it.
There is that. There's an element that he doesn't change at all. And because this is I'm the character. It is
I'm
one
the company guy, John Cena.
Yes,
he just is John Cena.
I do
this one pisses me off more.
There is an element where it's I can't wait. By the way, and I'm thinking about this right now, and it's perfect in my brain. The synapse is fired, and I'm like, yes. This idea of John Cena and calling out Cody as the new John Cena, right? Yeah. So then if Cody is the new John Cena, what does that make John Cena? Well, that makes John Cena. I've said John Cena way too many times. That makes Cena the prototype to Cody Rhodes.
Damn right.
I was like, if we call him if we could drop the George, change up his attire a little bit, and call him the prototype John Cena.
That
I
would be so
mean,
fun.
it feels nice.
You just want the prototype back. That's what you want so
I
bad.
it will be brought up at some point,
Oh, it will.
100%
It
in
will.
these promos.
I also think that's the most interesting part now is them selling this angle. You
Oh
have
yeah.
Cody and a locked in Cena selling this. Um Everyone complained about the WrestleMania build. It's not, it's not that great of a build, and it doesn't feel like we're into the next level. Well, you fucking had to ask. Now you got it. I don't think
It took a while to get here, to be fair.
it did. It did, and it mostly had to do with him not being here.
Well, I'll also say Yeet
Yeet,
as a big part of that too.
Um, but now he is here, and now you have the single biggest match of the year in wrestling.
Mhm.
Like, no matter how you feel about any company, like, this is going to be the biggest match.
Yeah, I'm
And it
glad
would
we
have
didn't.
been before that,
Yes, when we
but now it's
originally
bigger.
when I pitched Cena versus Cody last year at WrestleMania,
Yeah, I
I
don't think
did
this
not.
is even remotely in your realm of
I
possibility.
did not picture Cena turning heel in that moment, and even then,
If
like I
anything,
said,
you're
like
turning Cody.
yeah, and even then I talked about how like like last couple episodes of just this idea of like maybe they don't go with Cena, maybe they go with someone else. They don't have
Mhm.
to go with Cena. In the back of my head, I always still thought that like Cena was the better idea, but it was like okay, maybe they don't have to go Cena. Maybe that's not the story we're going for.
Right.
And they end up going with Cena. It's like I think that's still the better idea. That's the better match. And like I said earlier, it's like you have the dream match, and that's always cool, and you can always ride that wave. But
Mhm.
having this heel turn adds so much more energy. I am fascinated to see the crowd reaction follow up. I think that is the biggest, most crucial aspect to all of this. I think
I don't
Cody
think
is a
he gets
big.
booed.
I think Cody's a big enough baby face to get the cheers. I think Cena is a good enough uh actor, I guess the word is, to get the heel reaction. I think there is an element of cool heel, giving people what they want in the heel turn. I mean, even The Rock gets cheers, right? The
That's
Roman got
why
cheers.
I am playing with the idea of him just kinda staying John,
Well,
because
there's
that pisses people off already.
well, yeah, but then there's also the other aspect of like he's giving people what he wants here, so there's an element of taking away the jorts and taking away like
Yeah.
let's like
It's a 1-2 punch. You have to figure out what's gonna make the people most angry, and
yeah.
it's probably a mix
Yes.
of,
There's
you
because
know
you could do a story of The Rock telling Cena he has to change his attire because that's not
Yeah.
what the company wants. And
Right.
Cena saying, "Of course, I'll do whatever the company wants."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you could easily do that. And then
That's the exciting part of this.
the problem there is that I'm putting the heat on The Rock, which
Yeah.
I guess you eventually want to do because I think
So,
Cena will have to turn against The Rock. But
what
still,
is interesting is
it feels like
obviously they're
hold
going.
on, it feels like we're gonna get The Rock versus Cena again at some point, right?
Yeah, it does a little bit. I think that what is interesting is at the end of all this, well, not the end of all this, but in March, aren't they going to Europe for, like,
Ye-
most of the month?
Yeah, I believe so.
That'll be an interesting crowd to see how they treat Cena.
It's,
Because that's a little different from the typical WWE US crowd. When
Mhm.
I say a little different, I mean it's very different. Um, but that's the beauty of this is there's so many different ways you can go, and it's pretty exciting. Um, because you just don't know.
Yeah.
Um, could this? I think you ultimately have to look at this multiple ways. Could this flop on their face? I don't think there's a scenario it flops on their face because then John Cena is just a baby face again. And whoa, too
Yeah.
bad for them. It's like,
Yeah.
oh no, WWE wins because it's his retirement year. That's why it's so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Is it's his retirement year. Like I don't think there's a way to fail for him. This is just him, getting the last thing he never got to do in
Yes.
before he retires. And he's doing it alongside The Rock.
Yeah.
Like, what a
And
sentence.
Travis Scott. How can
And
we forget?
Travis Scott.
I hope he's here the entire year.
That would be so funny. That would just be as funny. The only rapper that was in attendance that was got any attention yesterday.
Well,
Not
Logan Paul gave Drake some attention.
Yeah, he did. Drake got no attention from them, which is so funny because WWE loves to show everyone in their crowd, and they were just like, "Nope."
Well, yeah, I mean, I imagine there's an element of like maybe Drake was like, I don't want to be on screen. You know, sometimes
Yeah, I
people can
wouldn't
say
either
no.
if I was him.
And to be fair to Triple H, Scotty, I'm sure Triple H has just not heard "Not Like Us" yet. You know, I'm sure he hasn't. You know, he's heard he's not aware of the allegations. He hasn't heard "Not Like Us" yet.
Mm. It's so bad.
um,
Ugh.
I am fascinated to see where this goes. Like I said, there is an element here. The confliction I have is that there's an element here of giving the people what they want, which is a John Cena heel run. And there's also the element of like giving the people what they want in the sense that like this is the last time they'll see John Cena. So do they really want to
Yeah,
boo him? For a
it's
lot
gonna
of
be hard.
you brought up the Europe tour. It's like so many of those
Yeah,
cities. That's the last time they'll ever get a chance to see John Cena
most
wrestle.
cities he goes to is the last time. You
Yeah.
know,
So
like
this idea of like him getting booed at any of these
yeah.
cities, it's like I can't. It's possible, but
You
I
know
don't
who
know
where
how
they will boo
likely.
him? You know where they will boo him? They
Where?
will boo him in Chicago. I'm not worried about
Oh,
that.
that's true. That is true. That is true.
I wonder where the Chicago date is in the middle of the summer, just so I can start to plan out when John Cena versus CM Punk's happening.
Yeah, what do we do we have any announcements? I'm gonna look up
I
those
don't
tour dates.
know, but
But it's
like,
this thing of like I think they have a big time challenge on their hands, and
mhm,
I think they have the right people to try to make it
yeah,
work. I think it's just going to be
uh,
it's going to be difficult.
it
But it's
is.
like it is the people it is these are all-time great workers. Can they turn it and can they make this successful? Yes, they can. It's just going to be hard.
And I
Um,
think I think for me, that's what benefits Cena's all-time case is the willingness to try. This is something he's always wanted to try, by the way. Let's not act like it's not.
no.
Um, he
Again,
just
he
never
he he
got the
started
option.
his he's always like he started his career as a heel and then got super over based off his charisma and naturally turned face. He started as a heel when he got to OVW and remained as a heel the entire time. But even worked face against like the Leviathan Batista. He started as a heel on the main roster, and then over time, the more they gave him charisma, the more they gave him opportunity on the mic, they he turned babyface. Like, I guess that's also an element of like, I also wouldn't have John Cena talk, maybe. And there's that element of him doing the mic drop is like, I don't know if I would even have him talk because that's a big part of it too, is he's naturally charismatic and people like to hear that charisma. And you can have The Rock talk for him. Don't have John Cena talk because anytime he talked, he ended up
He's
turning
really
face
the
because of it.
corporate champion.
Yeah, he has to shut his
He's that
mouth.
much of the corporate champion. I think there's a selling point to have him not talk for a few appearances.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it is totally that is totally
Maybe all
warranted.
of March.
Sure,
And then
why
by
not?
April, because April's what, 2 or 3 weeks of build up. I think that's a possibility. And that's the fun of this is they have so many different ways to go. Um,
Now,
I don't know. I'm
there
fascinated.
is a Chicago date announced. Now, there is also they could do these at one of these Saturday Night's main events if they want to go back to Chicago in like May or July that they have announced, but it doesn't look like we have a location on either of those. But currently, there is a Chicago date at Allstate Arena booked, Scotty, for April 4th, which is a SmackDown 2 weeks before WrestleMania. So
Mm.
that to me doesn't feel like it.
No, that
Um,
won't be punkin.
but maybe if they want to do that for one of the Saturday Night's main events in May or July, then maybe. But otherwise, no, would be the answer to
Bummer.
that.
Be
But
fun
yeah,
though. If they
I
can ever get there.
I think this is a fascinating angle. It will certainly go down in history as a big moment. I think the follow up is crucial.
Yeah.
But like we talked about, I think they have the right
I
people to
think
do it.
my best way to say this to wrap this up, I think it has a better chance of being more like Hogan than Austin.
In what way? In the sense
The
of like
Austin one,
Hogan's
everyone
gonna
considers a flop. The
yes.
Hogan one obviously was considered a success, until he, put
Yeah.
the company out of business. But that's that's fine.
You
I
know,
don't think Cena will be doing that.
we talked about like the business of WWE.
Yeah,
We talked about how like 2024 was a great year for them, and
yeah.
2025 are like it doesn't matter because they'll have another great year, and
They
Cena's
have
good.
John Cena.
It's going to be the Cena retirement tour, and now they have Cena turning heel, and I am I'll be fascinated to see the ticket sales for every show that John Cena's announced moving forward, and see how that advances.
It's John
Um,
Cena.
it's John Cena, and it's now heel John Cena, and so
This
there's
guy
this
has
thing of
sold tickets his entire career
mhm.
off being John Cena, and now he gets to not fully be John Cena, but also he's still John Cena because he's retiring. So
Yeah.
it's like it almost feels like their perfect time to take the chance in some weird way.
It's also I know we're trying to wrap this up, but it's also a
It's hard to
great
wrap up the biggest angle this
I know.
company has done since like the 2000s.
There's also this element of the Cena can wrestle all of these guys, and now he doesn't have to put them over.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I
Like
know.
there, I've heard there was,
Which he shouldn't the entire time.
but we've heard people talk about that of like there's this element of the classic thing of when you're retiring or whatever you're putting over the
Mhm.
next generation, and I do agree that that is ultimately what people should do. Um,
He's gonna go out on a shield,
Yeah, agreed.
but
But this idea of on top of that, there's this other idea that like Cena has always had sort of troubles with elevating and making new guys. Especially in the doldrums of WWE, he would always have difficulty. Granted, this was also Vince McMahon booking, and that played a big role in it. But Cena was never like the best uh, elevator in terms of stardom, in terms of creating new guys. I mean, fucking look at Austin Theory, but again, that's the Vince Triple H transition as
yeah, I'm
well.
not gonna blame him for that one.
Me neither. But like, and so there was a concern of like, okay, if this year's him putting over guys, I'm not sure how great John Cena is doing, and I've heard that from other people.
But he's
Here, but here as
put
a
over Punk,
heel,
he put over Bryan.
yeah, but here as a heel, he doesn't have to do anything. He can just have great like heel versus face dynamic matches where
Yeah.
he can crush people. And so I'm
Him
fascinated.
being more of the dominant guy for the
Hmm.
first time, and honestly probably since like his match with Daniel Bryan in like 2013 at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. It's like we haven't had this possibility in a long time. I think you're right. I think it's better for his matches. We are going to talk about obviously the whole card and whatnot. I just kind of want to take us into the men's chamber here
Yeah.
because it just feels like the obvious pivot.
Fair.
Watching him and CM Punk wrestle, I was like, you guys, like anyone could say what they want about these two in their current form, or whatever. There's a chemistry there that
Mhm.
no one else in this company has. Like I'm watching these two just do their thing, and I'm like, they haven't wrestled each other in years, over a decade,
That's what I'm saying, like close to a decade or something like
like
that.
over a decade, and they're better than everyone else. It's like it's one of those things where it's like I could watch these two old guys wrestle each other forever because the simplicity in the way they work is so much more exciting to me than one, like everyone else in the match. But two, just like everything WWE does. Like
Mhm.
that was the best wrestling on this show, was those two for me. And they know it. Like that's the best thing about those two is they very clearly know it, what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And I just can't wait for the singles match.
You're telling me Punk is knows
Oh,
knows
Punk
how great he
knows.
is.
Punk, I know, whatever with Punk, but yeah, I understand how people feel about Punk. But Punk, he has his wrestling soulmates, and it doesn't matter how long of a period between their matches,
Yeah.
he still clicks with them. Right? We saw it with Joe last year. So I was Cena here. Um,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. So that's kind of the crazy thing to me is just watching him like do that.
Who is Punk's most modern wrestling soulmate? Like the latest guy that like he has
like the newest guy,
yeah, that he has just like
because
really
those
good
two are
chemistry.
old. Him and
What?
Eddie was great.
I did like
Um,
him and Eddie.
I loved him and Eddie. I thought they were
That,
so good together.
but it was just is it MJF?
It'd have to be MJF. I don't obviously I have my thoughts on MJF. But I love both of their matches.
Yeah. It almost feels like he needs to have like more matches with somebody like Eddie or MJF to like really
Yeah,
establish that. Because Eddie was just
right.
one, if I recall.
Yeah, it
Um,
was one. It was
so
awesome. It was one.
MJF is probably the closest because he had two. But
Yeah, he doesn't have enough matches with them. I mean, I guess he had 3 with McIntyre, but the first 2 weren't that great. So
yeah, I'm not putting McIntyre.
I'm sure if they had a 4th, it would probably be very good. But um, yeah, I'd say probably MJF for
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
That's probably the most modern one. But that like still doesn't hold like anything to Cena and Joe for him overall.
I thought
Obviously.
the men's chamber match was pretty good.
My
For what
favorite match of the show.
I agree. I'm glad we have the same, according to Cage Match currently, same hot take. Uh,
I didn't okay. I'll just say this now because I'm gonna be the person on the island. I didn't think this was a bad show. Um, I just think that one match under delivered, even though I didn't hate it, like a lot of other people did, and the rest was kind of expected.
I thought I'm not gonna say overtly bad. I'm not gonna say great. I thought the show was boring.
Oh, I didn't find it boring.
I was bored so much of this show watching this, and maybe it is the 30 minutes in between matches that's just like it's losing me. But I just got really bored. Like I thought the women's elimination chamber had that hot angle to start, and then like the rest of it was like, this is fine. And then the women's tag team match I thought was really boring, but that was also the weakest match
That's
in the
true.
show. And then the unsanctioned one, I thought that was largely boring. That had like that Cody Kevin element where it was like a lot of stuff happening, and then we get some cool stuff. And then I thought the main event was the least bored of anything that I was. I was into the main event for what it was, but it was still pretty good. It was like very, I think, standard. If anything, it just felt like to me the most interesting stuff on the show was the John Cena heel turn, the Jade Cargill. This is in no particular order. The Jade Cargill return and beat him up on Naomi, which freaking ruled.
Yeah,
And the barbed wire chair spots. Like other than that, there wasn't a lot on the show that really excite me. And I don't think the wrestling was overtly bad. I don't think anything in WWE wrestling wise is overtly bad anymore. But for a large part of it, like the wrestling stuff, I was just like, I'm not getting into anything.
yeah, I disagree, but that's fine. Thought it was a good show.
Yeah,
I think the commercials are awful.
they
I will
are.
say that. I think it's the worst thing in the world. Because I think if you watch this all back to back to back to back, it's a pretty good show. Like if you don't have to deal with the commercials, I do think it's a pretty good show from them.
Did you watch it live or did you watch it after the
I
fact?
watched it live, so I
Okay.
experienced it, but I just kept myself busy during the commercial.
I didn't. I just sat there.
Like I mentally prepared for these, so I just know what to do. Yeah, I think for me, like I now look at these pay-per-views differently, and they gave me a lot of moments. I thought the women's chamber, this could just be the whole review. We don't have to do match by match.
Sure. It's only 4 matches anyways.
But we've already talked 45 minutes and we have a lot to get to. So
Yeah.
we can just do it this way. The women's tag was exactly what you expected. I mean, I don't think you expected much more. The only shock was I think Nia getting pinned.
Well, Trish doing a lot of the heat segment. I was kind of a little shocked by that.
It was
but
good
I
though.
get
They
it.
gave Tiffany the shine.
I get it. I get it, but it was just like, oh, that was
I
interesting.
actually have takes for each match, so I'll just quickly get them out of the way. That match, Tiffany's great. That was my take. I think it's kind of insane that she's going to lose the belt to Charlotte Flair. I was
Agreed.
like, I was watching this show. I'm like watching all the women's stuff, right? The first two matches. And I'm like, why is Charlotte Flair here? That is what I walked away with. I was like, she is not needed anymore.
We had this conversation. I clipped it and everything years ago after it was the Becky match.
You were trying to release her.
Yeah. Well, hey, look.
I honestly, but that's the thing. Like, I'm watching this. I'm like, there's so many people in this. Like, everyone says the women's division is weak, blah, 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 because of one reason or the other, whether it's the booking or whatever.
It's mostly the booking, but yes.
Mostly the booking. But even so, like, I don't think the depth should be where it could be if they just called up like 4 people.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm watching this. I'm like, why is Charlotte here? And I'm also then I also pivot to, where the hell is Becky Lynch? That is my best.
I've been in this world for years now, Scotty.
Yeah, I've always been a Becky fan, and I've never been a Charlotte fan. So, like, obviously that is part of it. But I'm watching this exact show, and I'm like, why is this all I'm thinking when neither one are even on it? Charlotte's even on this show, and I'm like, why is she here?
The Becky Lynch Tiffany Stratton match was 2 years ago, and it was that moment where you and I turned to each other and said, "Man, what does Charlotte's need anymore when you have Tiffany Stratton right here?" And now we have WrestleMania, and we're still wondering that. And then you got Becky, who is like gone forever, has not returned, signed, but is just gone forever. I fully thought for the women's main elimination chamber match that we were going to get the full.
When Naomi got her ass kicked, I thought Becky was coming out.
Exactly. I thought it was going to be the full. I want to say Kofi Kingston was the guy.
Yeah. When Ed ran in.
Yeah, the full Kofi Kingston spot where Naomi gets thrashed.
By the way,
Becky replaces.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll say that was the best thing Jade Cargill has done since like her first like match in AEW. No,
AEW.
Yeah, like I was like, this is awesome. Like this is how Jade should be presented.
Yeah,
because she just destroyed her.
But yes, this idea of like Charlotte is just like getting lapped by people at this point, and Becky is just gone. And there's the element like you talked about. Obviously, I think a big part of it is the booking. A big part of it, and there's the depth of the roster of the women's division as well. You're talking about the depth of the roster, but like ultimately, it's like look at the top end of what this women's roster is in terms of stars. You have Becky, who's not around whatsoever, and seemingly will never return. Charlotte, who is just getting lapped by people at this point. Bayley, who they're pushing as a legendary women's figure to a certain extent. I think in WWE,
I think Bayley's in the ideal role now.
Yeah, but like I agree, but like Bayley was never like the best of the 4, in my opinion. So it's like the top end is starting to get cut down a little bit.
Yeah.
It basically, I think we're, if you really want to look at the women's division in WWE, it's getting accordioned. Sometimes it goes out, sometimes it go in. Right now we're constricting.
I think it should be a good thing. Actually,
it should be a good thing because in the sense that it will then elevate the low mid card women up to supersede those big time stars.
Yeah.
That remains to be seen, I guess. We'll see at WrestleMania.
Make my point.
You can achieve that at WrestleMania with one booking decision, but we'll find out.
Between the two women's matches, I think Bianca versus Rhea is phenomenal. Like I legitimately think that. Like I saw them go face to face, and obviously it breaks my heart because I know Io's not probably gonna have a spot.
Well, hold on. I think there's a good chance we're gonna get a triple threat.
Which, if they do that, awesome, because those three will have a great match. But I did watch Rhea and Bianca face to face. I was like, they've been waiting so long to pull this trigger. And it just feels huge. Like I'm just watching. Like it's just one of those things where you look at it and you're like, this is the first women's match in a few years that if you put this in the main event, I get it. For WrestleMania.
I think I disagree. I think on paper you're right. I think on paper, Bianca.
Oh, I
versus,
mean on paper.
yeah, in practice, after like the year, 2 years of like de-elevating Bianca,
I think Bianca's still too big.
I think she's still too big to a certain extent, but you can't deny that like booking wise, they've de-elevated Bianca.
They've de-elevated her, but the fans have remained the same.
That could be fair. But in my mind, like they see her as de-elevated, and if they are going for a triple threat, it's because Bianca, they don't see Bianca as a big enough star to
I
do that
disagree.
match by itself.
I completely disagree.
I disagree with it as well. I'm telling you what
I don't
think
think
they
see
think.
that though. I
They-
think that
if they make
Io
it-
has gotten too over.
If they make it a triple threat, then I'm right.
No, absolutely not.
Uh,
Io has gotten over.
I'm not saying that he hasn't gotten over. I'm saying that Io and Bianca have all gotten over. I'm saying that Triple H doesn't see them as big enough stars to do a singles match.
I disagree.
Look how he's been treating Bianca over the past 2 years. Look how he's treated Io Sky in damage control.
She won the belt.
I know, and then she lost, and then what after that?
I disagree.
All right.
Disagree.
We'll find out. We'll find out. There's a good chance. Because by the way, we didn't talk about it in the preview because I don't think the match existed yet. It's Io versus Rhea Ripley on tomorrow night on Raw.
Yes.
I guess the thing that would make sense there would be one. I guess Io winning it to make it a triple threat.
That would be weird.
That feels weird.
Feels like the worst pivot.
That's a fun little wrinkle, but it feels wrong.
Yeah, it feels very wrong.
Or some sort of like no contest that like it forces a triple threat. Or we go with the idea of it simply being Bianca and Rhea, and it's just like another thing of Io not getting moving forward.
This is a me thing.
And again, that's the booking hurting Io.
Threats.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want multiple triple threats because clearly Roman's match is a triple threat.
Yeah.
So I just I don't want it. Obviously, this is coming from someone who wants Io in a big spot, but I understand reality.
We can solve it real quickly. I can solve that super quickly.
Becky Lynch versus Io Sky.
No, I was gonna say just throw Becky Lynch and make it a 4-way.
Yeah, but no, I don't. It's multi-person overall.
Yes.
I don't like multiple. Like one's fine. And I don't even like it for Punk, Rollins, and Reigns. I don't think it makes much sense. But I would just do the one singles match for either one and with Reigns and give the other one something else to do. But that's fine. Jey Uso had to win the Royal Rumble. So we had to ruin that.
Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble is just like a stinky like shit. That's just in the corner.
Worst. It's so bad. It's like, how do you book all this like that people are excited about, and then you just have that?
Yeah, it's just like it is. We'll talk about the Revolution card. It feels like that like Moxley title match, where it's just like, and then that's over there. That's over there. All of this looks great. This all looks really good, and then that one over there.
It's like one of those things where you're like presenting something, and then you have this little small thing in the middle. It's like, oh, what's that? Nothing. You don't need to look at it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I my big take of the show was again they don't need Charlotte Flair.
No. We didn't talk about the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn.
In terms of that, I thought it was the watered down version of what they would do a decade ago. I still thought I was still entertained, but and I still think they took like big bumps and all this.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Like wrestling.
Yeah, I didn't think it was bad. I just, you said it last week, and I think you kind of nailed the expectation.
Well,
right?
I was watching it, and I was like, had that feeling of like, oh crap, I was right.
Yeah, like it was hard to get excited because you're like, yeah, this is probably what's gonna go down. And I think that's just where I don't want to say
the lack of blood is also.
And I kept asking myself watching this, I was like, why is there no blood? And obviously, I learned why at the end of the show. Because they don't want to do double dose of it, but I was like, this match needed it.
Then swap the women's tag, and the match.
I was like, it's fine to have multiple people bleed. It would have been fine.
You have a guy that goes head first on a barbed wire steel chair. Come on.
I asked myself like continuously as this match was going on, like, why is there no blood? if this match has blood, it's just a bit better, and it feels at least more reasonable.
Yeah.
Because again, I give them a lot of credit. They took a lot of nasty ass bumps in this.
Yeah.
And they put themselves through hell. I liked this. I didn't love it.
Agreed.
You know, and I think that's my problem with it.
Especially
I
with
wanted to love it.
especially with these two
Yeah.
and the just the sheer number of bangers that are this kind of match in the past.
Right.
This,
Right.
it is, I think I saw Phil Lindsay talking about this on Blue Sky in regards to, stay with me, folks, in regards to the new Captain America movie.
Oh no.
And I'm using his point as to talk about this.
Okay.
He said that he did like the new one, Brave New World. I don't know if you've seen it. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it because of Marvel sucks nowadays. But he said he's like, I ended up liking Brave New World, but he's like, but in comparison to the other Captain America movies, it doesn't hold up in comparison. And he's like, it's my least favorite Captain America movie, but I still thought it was good. And I think there's an element of that here where it's like, this is probably good, but when you have these two guys and the history that they have, the expectation's way higher for like that title of Captain America, for these two having an unsanctioned match, that there's a certain expectation that there's no way that these guys hit. And the moment they took out blood, that made the match even worse. And I don't think the match was all too exciting before that. Good bumps and everything, but like there was a little bit of that Cody Kevin thing as well, where it's like a lot of just kind of brawling stuff and things are just happening, but I don't really see the connection, and it's just too slow for my taste. And it's things that are good. The match is good. I went, but it should have been great. And part of it is the lack of build, and part of it is just the match outcome. And there's a lot of things that I think went wrong in the match. But the fact that, by the way, 9.19 on Cage Match right now out of 200 votes. 9.18 out of 210 votes now. I just refreshed. That's insanely high in my opinion.
Yeah, that's very high. I mean, crazy. I went 3.5 because I appreciated the bumps and the work and the story.
Sure,
enough, but like I couldn't go higher.
No.
Like that's the thing. And I think for me, when it comes to these two, or maybe just Kevin at this point, I think Kevin's a great storyteller at this point. But I don't know if this character is built to have the great match. I'm not gonna say him because I think he is.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
I think it's the character and what he's going for and what they're going for with it that is limiting it rather than himself, because I do think he is very capable of it. He's taking these crazy bumps each and every month. It's just what the character's going for.
I think they're making him more methodical, which in WWE parlance that tends to turn into slower.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why I am terrified of the WrestleMania match of Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens.
Oh yeah. I did like the tease of the punt. I will give them that. I thought that was a great tease. Got this like one of the bigger pops of the night. It's a big match.
A lot of pops coming from angles, by the way, but just
that's
on,
that's WWE, to be fair.
True.
That is literally their entire business.
Yeah.
And then like the Elimination Chamber, I thought the first half was fine, the second half was great. And I thought the final three was very well done.
Yeah.
I think I thought Seth did a great job, because I'm sitting there watching him, I'm like, get out of here, man. I just want to watch these two. But like he did his angle and it worked very well. And I think that was interesting. And honestly, I think at this stage, to best Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins is to have a three-way, like to get the best out of them, which is funny because the other guy in the match is 46 years old. But I think Punk's just different. So I am interested to see how that story goes. There's a lot of history and story there to make it work.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like I said, had if there's no commercials on these shows, they're just better shows, but there are. So I can't ever walk away saying, "Wow, that was a great top to bottom show," because I was sitting there for extra 2 hours.
Yeah. It
Right?
wears me down.
It
Uh,
does.
small bits I want to just real quickly talk about is just the crowd booing the Star Spangled Banner, which in my personal opinion, thought ruled.
That's
And then
classic. They
and then
did
it
that at the, Hockey Four Nations face-off
yeah,
too.
and then it pissing off Pat McAfee for the entire show was hilarious.
Yep.
Um, I enjoyed the moment in the unsanctioned match where Sami Zayn's looking for chairs, sees the barbed wire chair, looks up and looks at Kevin, and then looks back down and grabs it. I thought commentary missed this, or they interpreted it
Valkyrie
differently
had a
than I did.
rough night.
How I interpret that moment is Kevin placed that chair there, and
Yeah.
Sammy saw it first, and then realized, oh, this is
Yeah.
what he was trying to do. I'll just do this then.
Yeah.
I think there's an element that I like. I think that's what the moment was to me, and I thought that was really well done. And then the other thing is, and again, this is babyface John Cena, where the heel stuff doesn't make sense. And it could just be John Cena talking wrestling way too loudly as he usually does. But he's going for the STF, and instead of doing like the crossface version, he's doing a choke, which I enjoyed a little bit more. That's like the heel
That
part.
moved me.
But again, I don't know if this was on purpose or not, but it sounded like he said sorry as he was doing it. And there's the element of him yelling sorry to Punk, knowing that he's taking away the WrestleMania main event from him.
Yeah.
That
I
was
thought
nice.
that's what I thought of when I heard that.
I thought that was very nice. Again, that could easily just been, a misheard, or
Yeah.
he wasn't supposed to say that. He was talking way too loud as he usually does. But I thought there was an element
I
there.
think you were right.
Yeah.
That's the way I choose to treat it. I also liked when when the match was over, he hit him on the head.
Mhm.
There's just a respect thing there. I said this when Punk came back. Like this, if this ever could happen again, this is worth the comeback.
Yeah.
And like the 2 times we've now teased it, it's been worth it. Like I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't give a shit what either of these two do otherwise, really.
Yeah.
As long as they get this, and they're gonna have their match because they've set the stage.
I will use that sorry and the hug with Punk and everything as the idea of what this heel turn Cena might be, which is him not changing at all and
Yeah.
doing this more so this level of gray.
Yeah.
The mic drop is different. That doesn't help my cause. But more of this level of gray of like, I'm still the same guy. Like I still have you're still my friend, Punk, and I still respect people or whatever, but like I have to end up doing what's best for business. And put my personal stuff aside and take this away. But him apologizing to Punk shows that there's humanity within him.
That was the most humanity we got out of Cena since he's come back, outside of the obviously like paying respect to Uso, whatever. But like that's the humanity part that makes this night very interesting. That's the only humanity we saw. Everything else he was pretty locked in, right?
Yeah.
He only protected Punk. Remember when Rollins was beating his ass? He's like, no. And I think that makes for an interesting story.
Yeah.
Down the line. It's like, and ultimately I think Punk can swerve it of like, I had no problem with you getting your main event, but you sold out for Dwayne.
Yeah.
And that's how we're gonna get there. And I think that's kind of exciting.
I think Punk could be if Cena's winning the title, I think Punk could be an easy defense. I think maybe like a Sami Zayn. It could also be a good defense.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I joked about this to you beforehand on Slack. I don't think it's defense. I think it's just a match that can happen. I jokingly said that like, John Cena versus R-Truth makes sense as a match.
You see what R-Truth tweeted this morning?
No, I didn't see it.
He tweeted, I think I'm gonna crash out.
I don't know what that will look like, but you could now do it if you wanted to. Yeah. You could do that on Raw.
I did
crushes
think
R-Truth.
that when you said that, I was like, man, he's gonna kill R-Truth. That's how he's gonna get over as a heel. He's gonna kill R-Truth.
That's what I would do. First match, him versus R-Truth, and just destroys him. Yeah, that would work.
Oh, that would work so well. because that in a way, 50-plus-year-old R-Truth is the kid,
Yeah.
right? He's the kid. He's the John Cena fan that gets crushed.
Yeah. He's crushing it. Capital punishment too, baby. We're back.
I
Get
think it's
into it.
actually such a good thing that they should do, and I hope they do it.
Me too.
Oh, that'd be so good. Oh, that'd be so good. Yeah, I'm excited about John Cena.
Hmm.
Wow, it's like the Royal Rumble all over again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's move on. I think we talked enough
And
about
I
Elimination
questioned
Chamber.
why is Charlotte Flair here
Yeah.
again?
Yeah, we'll see how everything turns out. I'm sure we'll talk more about the road to WrestleMania as we move on.
Will we?
Well, I don't know. I legitimately don't know.
Might
I
be a
don't
light it might be light some weeks. I
uh,
feel like we have to at least the first Cena thing.
I'm sure there will be more rock nonsense along this road. Scott.
Also a great point, Ryan. One
Um,
that I didn't think of.
I don't think we have another Saturday Night's Main Event anyways. I literally just think the next thing is going to be WrestleMania. So, yes, it is just WrestleMania. So, anything else we discuss between now and then is going to be whatever rock nonsense happens moving forward. But I guess we'll find out. Well, let's move on and talk about AEW Revolution. They have a big time pay-per-view, one of their biggest pay-per-views, in my opinion, on the calendar for AEW coming up next week. This time resonating in Los Angeles, California, in the crypto.com arena. Was former Staples Center, if I'm not mistaken. The crypto.com arena. I think, honestly, Scotty, this is a pretty good card, in my opinion. This is a really exciting card.
These matches have to be a squash.
Most, if not any, I know what match you're talking about, and I would love if that was a squash.
If it's not a squash, I'll actually be devastated.
And
everything else I'm looking forward to.
And you're of course talking about Momo versus Mercedes. But I think this card looks really good. I think I'm interested in almost every single of these matches. I think there's probably one or two that I'm not fully interested in. Maybe two, actually.
They're the world title match.
And one of those world title match. I recall having an AEW pay-per-view like this before. I think it was like there was like an MJF title match main event where I was like, I'm not too interested in the main event, but like everything else looks great. Or maybe it was the opposite. I don't remember. Anyways,
there's not a world this match should be the main event over most of this card. I'm just letting you know that.
Yeah.
In my brain, come on.
Yeah, no.
You can even have the women's world title finally main event to show.
I've heard some people pitching that. I've heard some people pitching that idea. I don't think it would happen.
The Hollywood ending. I don't think it will either, because I don't think Tony Khan's that kind of guy. What is a Hollywood ending match?
It's a Falls Count Anywhere, apparently.
Okay, thank you.
Well, to be fair to Tony Khan, I think Cope is really pushing for the main event here.
Shocked.
But I think ultimately this is a really nice card. I don't know how it's selling,
a good card,
but I'm very interested in it. We'll talk about it real quickly. We'll go match by match here. Starting with the 0 hour, because we got to get your impressions off this, Scotty. I don't know if you know about this. This got put together on Collision. 0 hour, Johnny TV, Mansoor, and Mason Madden versus Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, and Big Boom AJ. He's back. He's better than ever. He's all healed up, and he's ready to take on MXM Collection and Johnny TV on the 0 hour.
Okay.
Not as jazzed as we were last time.
You want my take?
Sure.
It was cool for one match. We have officially flown. It's too much.
I said that at the end of the QT Marshall one, and I think you said you can do it again. It was that hot, and my response is no. I don't want to see this again. And here we are.
Here's the thing. You're absolutely right. Here's the thing. He I don't know, disappeared. Like Revolution's too far.
He broke his ankle or whatever it was.
Right. It felt like you had to couple it together when it was hot.
Yeah, with World's End or something.
Right. Not months later where I'm gonna be that guy. Don't even hear about these guys anymore.
Legitimately, I don't hear about them ever.
It feels like
not even on my Instagram For You page or anything.
No, me either. It feels like when WWE would be late to the trend.
Yeah,
like they used to always be. Except AEW is there for the trend and now are just keeping it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pre-show match and it's a tag match, so I don't care that much. But holy shit, Tony Khan, if you don't do more with Mark Briscoe, I'm going to lose my mind.
He was one of the best wrestlers, period, last year, in my
He
opinion.
is like one of the best baby faces in the entire company by far.
I didn't look at. I don't remember, but
I have been looking for these tickets for about 25 minutes. I cannot find them.
I didn't look at. I don't remember, and now we're both looking things up. Where did Mark Briscoe place in the Wrestling Observer Awards?
That's up to you. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up as well. Because in my opinion, one of the best wrestlers, at least in the AEW roster for sure, last year is Mark Briscoe, and the fact that he's on the pre-show teaming up with Big Boom AJ is so frustrating. And I think there's an element, if you want to be fair to Tony Khan, I think the idea is that like he still sees value in Big Boom AJ, and he's exposing the world to Mark Briscoe and Orange Cassidy, which
Another
makes sense.
time where Tony Khan should have pivoted.
Yeah. So I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to expose his most popular like characters to the world via Big Boom AJ, but I just, I couldn't care less, honestly.
No, this needs to be it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on to the main card. I'm like I said, like we say in all these previews, I'm sure that we will have more matches announced. I think the main card's probably done. Maybe one more match, but probably done. The
They
0
should
hour
put
probably
Megan
have one.
Chris on here.
Say it again.
They should put Megan and Chris rematch on here.
Maybe
doing the tag on Wednesday. I'm just trying.
That could be 0 hour potentially. If
0 hour again.
I think if anything, they might add a TNT triple threat.
I really would not. I would not put it on 0 hour because Big Boom AJ is going to go last, and that means they would wrestle in front of half a filled building. So I'd rather just save it for TV then, or Dynasty. Dynasty's in less than a month.
That is a great point.
Or in a month, something like that.
I think it might. Maybe you could do like a couple tag or trios match or something, like an all-star women's match, maybe at the pre-show.
Yeah, another people wanted to do the face of the Revolution.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm gonna be that guy and say I don't miss that match.
Yeah, so, I don't think it's needed here. I honestly, genuinely don't. Think
I
it's
don't.
Needed here.
I don't think they did it last year either. Did they?
No, they did it last year because they had Regito or something. I think in that one.
They did an all-star.
No, it was Magnus. It was Magnus in that one.
Yeah, that stunk. Don't.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that match was so bad.
Yeah.
Wardlow, Chris Jericho, Hobbs, Archer.
Because that
wasn't this supposed to be the meat match?
Yes, that was supposed to be the meat match.
And then Miro never came back.
That was supposed to be the meat match, and then we were supposed to get the Miro return last year. And he just disappeared.
I'll say this: the card this year way better than last year.
Way better. So let's talk about it. Going in order, AEW World. I say it in order. Like this isn't one. It's like we know any order.
I was like, hold on.
Like I said, I do think we'll have a possible TNT triple threat match added here. That being Daniel Garcia, sure. Adam Cole, and Shane Taylor. I guess it could be Lee Moriarty, but probably Shane Taylor. So we might see that get added, but we will talk about that. I guess
Daniel Garcia is champion.
He actually had a great match with Adam Cole last night.
You say capital GREAT great?
Great that ended in a no contest. So asterisk great. Everything was great up until the ending. But it's me saying that, being an Adam Cole hater.
You want to hear my take? You want to hear my take right now? The Undisputed Kingdom, good.
Agreed.
They're good when they're all together. Mm-hmm. Did I want the Undisputed Era back? No. But are they better together than apart? Yes.
Yeah. They had Adam Cole had a really good match with Daniel Garcia. Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly had a really good match with FTR. Yeah, they're good as a unit. What can I say? It works so much better. But Daniel Garcia's reign as a TNT champion, fine.
Better than Jack Perry.
Yes, I think they're doing more. Him wrestling and doing a bunch of more stuff on Collision is helping add to Collision being a better show lately.
Yeah.
So I'll say it's a success in that sense.
Feels like he's doing the best he can
Agreed.
on that show. By the way, Jack Perry, what a flop. Continue.
Mark Briscoe, best honorable mention, best on interviews, and got tied for 8th for most underrated in the Observer Awards. Tied for 8th with Pete Dunne, and didn't rank anywhere else. That is, in my opinion, a travesty. A fucking travesty, Scotty. So
what happens when you're not pushed?
Yeah, I know. Anyways, AEW World Tag Team Title match: Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin versus the Outrunners, Truth and Turbo, Truth Magnum, Turbo Floyd. Scotty, was this the match you wanted to be a squash?
This match shouldn't go more than 5 minutes.
I agree.
I will be upset. I will be upset if this match goes much longer than that. Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley should punk these dweebs. I will be upset if they do anything less. Anything less. When I saw that these two won, because let me tell you, buddy, I did not watch the match because I don't watch Outrunners. I will be.
Do you not like the Outrunners?
Not at all. No, not even a little. I don't like.
Scotty hates fun. Can you believe,
true.
folks?
That is true. I do. I will be upset if Bobby Lashley and Shelton have to sell for these guys like at all. They barely sold for the guns.
I agree. I do agree. I enjoy the Outrunners for what they are, but I really agree with you about they should 100% squash them in like 5 minutes.
It'd be awesome.
It would rule. Like you can do like a very quick like hope spot for them, right? And that's fine. But then just have Shelton like,
destroy them.
Bobby's down. They go to do the elbows. Give me your arm, whatever, you son of a bitch, and then do the elbow thing. And then Shelton Benjamin comes out of nowhere and just super kicks Truth Magnum's skull out of his body.
Easy.
Whoa, hey, they hurt people. They don't kill people.
People. Yeah, no, they should destroy them.
But yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think they should ultimately just destroy them because look, as cool as the Outrunners
show, gonna be long.
Yeah, as cool as the Outrunners are, especially if they add one more match. By the way, as cool as the Outrunners are, let's go full '80s throwback, and just make this a squash match, a squash tag match.
There's arguably 6 world title matches on the show, like in terms of like time.
Yeah.
We can have one that goes short.
I agree.
And it should be this one, without a doubt. Because if any of the other ones go short, I think most people will be upset.
Though
I'd love Moxley and Cope to go like 2 seconds. But that's a personal thing.
Yeah.
That I don't know. I don't want to. I'm not excited for that match.
I don't want that to go 2 seconds, Scotty, because it feels like then that would just be an angle, and I think that would just feed more of the hate surrounding all of it. If it ends up not being a match at all.
We're not previewing it yet.
Yeah, we'll talk about
a question for it when we get to it.
AEW World Title #1 contendership match: Ricochet versus Swerve Strickland. You have been a big poo-poo Ricochet guy when he came in. No, hear me out. Since he came in, and I ended up slightly joining you on that effort of like, I don't think he's that great. Then he turned heel, and I think, Scotty, legitimately, since he's turned heel, he has gotten so much better and a more interesting person to watch on AEW that I am constantly interested in what Ricochet is doing. Now in comparison to Swerve Strickland, I think the robe stuff is interesting to me. It adds more of that cocky chicken shit energy to Ricochet. That is we need the haha, by the way, as part of our soundboard. I am very interested. I in this match. Making a #1 contendership match is great to me. That makes me very excited. Yeah. I am fascinated. I'm very excited. I saw this live in Atlanta, and the match was really, really good. Watching it here on pay-per-view, I think it's going to be even better. I talked about that with my friend at the time that I thought that match in Atlanta needed some blood. I don't know if this match will have blood. I think they will probably have a third down the road, and that might get it, depending on what it'll look like. But ultimately, I thought these guys have been killing it in terms of the rivalry, and I'm very much excited for this match. Scotty, what do you think about this match? What do you think about Ricochet now as a full-time heel?
So before that, looking at the card, there's a lot of matches that need blood.
I know Ospreay Fletcher desperately needs blood.
It's gonna have blood. Like that's a lock. And the Hollywood ending needs to have blood.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the world title match
needs blood.
I need
blood. Swerve and Ricochet. Yeah. I know I haven't talked about Ricochet in a long time on this show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm halfway there.
Hey, that's more than not there at all.
And the reason I'm halfway there is I think he's actually done very well in segments.
Yeah.
I need the blowaway match. Because I did think him and Swerve was good, but I need the blowaway, like, oh my God, type level.
Yeah.
And I think this can be it. Because my confidence in Swerve Strickland is higher than majority of this roster.
Yes.
And the fact that we have now turned it around, and I loved the angle on Wednesday where there is doubt in the mind of, is Nana going to turn, right? Is that going to be where this goes? I don't think it should be, but I think it's a great way to add to this. Because I do think Swerve and Nana are just a great package that I don't want to ruin. But he would probably be very good with Ricochet if that was the case. I think the most important thing about this story is getting Swerve back on track at the end of the day, because everyone became more interested in the world title on Wednesday when Swerve Strickland brought it up.
Yeah.
It's just how it works. I think this match can be very good, if not great. Yeah. I think it could be. It's gonna be tough to be the match of the night. If they achieve match of the night, I would think something went wrong rather than something else.
I think if they achieve match of the night, it's going to be like slim pickings and personal preference.
If they get match of the night, it's because they delivered like a legitimate 5-star classic, probably. Like that would be how they did it. I don't know. The problem with this card, there is a problem with this card, and I have to say it. It feels like there's so many big singles matches. Like it's not too much because it's awesome. Like I'm just gonna say it's
you
awesome.
Just said you don't want multi-man matches. Now there's too many singles.
I don't. Okay, so I don't want multi-man matches, but like these are all big singles.
Sure.
Like everything is a big singles one way or the other, no matter how you feel. So it's like, okay, how does this be different? How does this be different? How does this be different? Right? We're talking about blood. Like we can't put blood here. We got to put blood here. Like it's a good problem to have, is my point. It's just a thing. It's like my brain is frying thinking about it, because it's like, how do we make this work and this work and this work? But that's the wrestlers thing. I'm just gonna sit back and watch, because at the end of the day, I'm very excited about the show. This match, who should win? Swerve.
And ultimately, I think Swerve should win,
because Ricochet doesn't make sense against like anyone besides Cope. And let me tell you, buddy, it's one thing I don't want.
Yeah.
That's not my pivot.
Now, I did think of it while you were talking about Nana, what it would look like if we break up the Swerve Nana package.
Yeah.
Nana's energy currently as a heel would match up with Ricochet's so well. Can you imagine Nana coming out and doing the Swerve dance thing with Ricochet?
They would be the goofy heels.
Yes.
In a good way.
Yes.
It would work. That's why I said it would work. I like Swerve and Nana too much, but I'm here for the story. I'm here for the story. I'm here to see what they tell. That's why, like, when I said there's a problem,
yeah, quote unquote,
it's because, again, it's my brain can't make it all make sense yet.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just gonna have to watch the show because one of these matches, and I'm gonna be that guy. One of these matches have to flop.
I think we were almost. I think we were also talking about is like there's like a sort of lately with AEW like a lack of trust a little bit. And granted, this is a paper. Like I think like if you saw this card in like
Yeah.
2019, 2022,
Yeah.
even let's say 2021, you would be like, I'm here for it. Every single match is gonna rule. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
But I think now at this point in 2025, there's a little bit of like,
Yeah.
this is. I think to me, if I can interpret it, what you're talking about, this almost looks too good to be true.
Yeah, it does.
And
like every time I'm going down the lineup here,
yes.
and I get to another match, and I'm like, oh shit, that's on this show.
Yes.
And it's like, how is this supposed to work? It's literally my brain not handling it all. Yeah. And I think you're absolutely right. Had this happened in, say, 2021, I'd be like, oh, here we go, folks.
Yeah.
Guaranteed like match show of the year, right?
Yeah. And I think it's still show of the year is still up for the table based
on
this card.
100%.
This is a great looking show.
Something needs to go wrong in my brain.
Surely this all can't go well. Surely this can't go well.
Yeah, and I think that's exciting at the same time. It's like it's exciting that AEW has realized the roster that they have again for the first time forever. They're like, oh, you know what? Yeah, we do have some pretty good roster. We do have some good partners. Yeah, you know what? What if we just did this?
It's interesting that all it took was Tony Khan allegedly having more hands on the book. It turns out he's a good booker.
Easy. The show hasn't happened yet.
Fair enough.
We
have a week to it.
I can't. The world title match proves that maybe not.
Sure. Well, I'll have a thing to say about that, but
maybe he's good with everything except for the world title. Maybe it's the opposite of where we were. Like, no, I think that's actually always how it's been.
Yeah,
I think I had that exact point like a year ago.
We'll talk about the world title in a moment. We keep talking about the world title, and we keep saying
it's hard to avoid because everything else is great.
Let's just talk. Actually, no. Let's just talk about it now since we are talking about the world title.
It's not our main event. It's not our main event.
Our main event is Hurt Syndicate versus the Outrunners squash match.
5 minutes, absolutely.
John Moxley versus Cope, AEW World Title match. Obviously,
1 to 10 excitement for this match. This show is like a 9 for me, honestly.
I'm gonna say a 5, and I think if you asked me that question a month ago, it would be a 2.
0. Oh, okay. Because I did think they had a good angle.
Well, I think exactly. I think they had a good angle. I think that I think my point I was going to make here that I was alluding to was that I think that lately this storyline angle has gotten better. Cope is actively doing stuff to stop the Death Riders. He's taking them out one by one. He's actively doing something. Mox is unable to stop. There's elements of like stuff is happening. So the story has gotten better over the past month. And like I said, if you asked me that a month ago, I would have said I'm not excited about it. Here, I'm more excited. I'm not. There's so many more things to be jazzed about on the show than this main event, but Absolutely. It has gotten better over the past month. Still not great. Fighting for good, but it has gotten better. And then on top of that, again, why I would be a 2 beforehand is, we talked about it before. This has a chance to be the light at the end of the John Moxley Death Riders tunnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that. Like, it feels like this could be it. Cope could win here. And I know you have a big pitch of what that could turn into. We talked about it before in the show, but what that can turn into. But this could be the end of that. So there is an element of hope. It could just be me coping.
Yeah,
wink.
Nice.
Wink.
Nice.
But I'm going to turn that cope into hope here. And I'm going to hope that we're going to get I think between the two guys, I think we'll still have a really good wrestling match.
Yeah.
Especially since the wrestling match right now could be every one of the Death Riders gone, and it is just simply Mox versus Cope.
Straight up.
And that's straight up, and that's it. I think that could be very fun. but we'll see. It remains to be seen. I think there is this could be really good or it could be bad. Because easily, Scotty, I think we could easily just get a secret Death Riders member come out, attack Cope.
That's the fear, man.
I think it would be Jay White come out, attack Cope for whatever reason, and join up with Moxley. That would be the WWE ending of this match.
I saw someone pitch Jack Perry and I almost crashed out on the spot.
I guess they could be Jack Perry.
No, don't give him any ideas.
But ultimately, what we're talking about is like that's a WWE ending. Is like someone swerves on Cope, joins Moxley, and Moxley's able to retain, and we move and we continue on. I think that would be the wrong idea. I like your idea way more of what the thing is. Even that's not like the best, but I like your idea. No, you want to talk? What do you think about this?
So obviously, I need everyone to know. Last time John Moxley defended this title, not against Powerhouse Hobbs on a pay-per-view. I remembered that. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm shocked I remember that. I gave that 4-way a 3/4. 3/4. So you can understand, it's all up from there in my mind, and it's been up and down. And I think the past couple of weeks have been better. So I am with you in that. But I need to get off this ride. The Death Rider ride is not fun.
Hey, they put the death in Death Rider.
Oh, they sure did. It's been bad, and honestly, not to be that guy, not a big Cope guy. Haven't really loved Cope. He feels like the worst possible person to be fighting for the AEW. Like it just doesn't make sense. Yeah. Every time I see him, like, I don't really represent AEW.
He hasn't been around long enough. I think if he never got injured and we got to this point, it would have been better, but still.
So to turn this into positivity, I think that this can and possibly should end with Christian Cage as AEW World Champion, because it still keeps your heel World Champion.
Yep.
It still keeps Darby as a possibility.
Heel World Champion with a faction of guys, by the way.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I would fuck the Darby thing. I don't want that anymore. I think it's stupid that you are willing to put your plans on hold for a guy that is very scarily putting his life on the line. Like it's just you have other people. It's not like you don't have options. We've been over the options ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Ad nauseum. So I think pivoting to Christian Cage is a direction that is worth considering. And not only worth considering, but I think it is one that you should seriously consider because, one, it makes sense with Edge, obviously, and the connection between them and what they did. And no, you don't want to do the exact same thing as the TNT title. I get that. So it's almost like, because we're treating this as a Money in the Bank, right?
Yes.
That's what this is?
Yes.
So like, if they're both down, can he just cash in into the match and they just pins someone? Like, that works, right?
I think so.
I'll assume either way. I think
it's Money in the Bank, but he has to sign a contract. There's a big part of it there. He has to actively sign it.
That's true. I think for me, that pivot, and I don't like the patriarchy. So this is tough for me.
As a man, I also don't like the patriarchy. I think we should all say that. As a feminist, I think I also don't like the patriarchy.
I just think it's more interesting moving forward with Christian Cage as world champion. And it's mostly to get that contract out of the way too.
Agreed.
Which I think is another very important thing, because if that's not the plan, then he's probably using it on Darby when he wins the belt. Which, if that happens, I will indeed crash out. Yeah. If we do all this to get to Darby for him to get cashed in on and lose the belt, I would lose it. I think I'd lose my mind. So I think this is my pivot. And then at Double or Nothing, you can just crown a new babyface champion. I'm not waiting till All In, because, no offense to Christian Cage, I don't think he can be the world champion going into that show. But I don't think John Moxley can either. I know Cope can't.
I think it's Swerve is a good guy that can do that.
Swerve and
Darby,
Darby have
I think
history.
Darby is unproven ultimately, but like I think he can. I think it's possible. I
He
think
won't be back for
I
Double or
think
Nothing.
he's reported.
When's
I
he
just looked.
leaving?
He's already gone. He left in December. It was going to be Sean Ross Sapp said
What?
for be gone for months, but he'll be back in the spring. Is what Sean Ross Sapp said. So presumably he's
So
out. He's climbing it
what-
now. Presumably
when is Double or Nothing?
May.
May.
Maybe. I
Maybe.
I think we could get him returning at the end of a match challenging the winner.
If it's Double or oh well, Dynasty's still here too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because Double or Nothing could be Cope versus Christian Cage. Because I think they want to do that. I think they would want to do that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
And then Dynasty can, I don't know what Dynasty will freaking be. I don't know.
You know who I could bring up again as a babyface world champion?
Oh,
that
Dynasty will be
to bring up?
Swerve. Dynasty be whoever wins the Swerve Ricochet
Yeah.
match. What am I talking about?
You know who I can bring up again to be the end all be all babyface world champion, and I've brought him up as the end all be all heel champion as well. But since he's a babyface again, Hangman Page is a great option, and I feel the need to bring him up again and bring him up again and bring him up again until we give him the chance to be world champion again.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Steel cage match: Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Now, there is an element here that you want to point up. This match will rule. This match will be awesome. Someone is going to fly off the top of the cage and destroy themselves.
It's going to be Will.
Yeah. Has this gone on a little bit too long?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure has.
But are we still into it?
Yes.
I think I am. I think I'm still into it.
Haven't really thought about it.
Yeah.
Honestly. Because it just feels like we kind of just been waiting for this since the tag, right?
Yes.
Like we just kind of were like, all right, this is the destination. Until then, see you later.
It felt like World's End was the blow off, and then we went to the tag, which like rejuvenated everything, and now we're getting like a second blow off.
Yeah, it feels like if we don't pivot from here for both of them, like it feels like Kyle Fletcher should probably be decimating Daniel Garcia at Dynasty, right?
Oh yeah, that could be good.
Thing.
Yeah,
like that makes sense for him, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think Will needs to win though. Will's given up a lot of wins. Like the last pay-per-view, he lost. I know he won, but he lost.
Did he win?
He lost to Okada.
Did he win at World's End?
He lost to Okada in the final. He did beat Kyle. Right. He beat Fletcher, but he lost. When did this feud start? When was the first match?
Well, the first match was
Wrestle Dream.
Wasn't like Will Ospreay's debut or something like that? No.
Not when it was a feud. They did face, but
yeah, because when did I saw them live in Duluth, Georgia in March of last year.
Become a heel. Hold on, let me see. He doesn't wrestle that much anymore, so it should be easy to find. Full Gear in November.
Okay. Was it the first? Was the first feud match?
Yeah.
Is this 3?
This is the third.
And who won the first one? Is Fletcher, Ospreay,
Ospreay.
So they're 1-1. So it feels like, well, I mean, here's the thing, right? If Ospreay wins, he should go for the world title.
Yeah,
I mean, he has to move on to something. He has to elevate somewhere. So what is that? It's either that or Takeshita, which is still the Don Callis family. I mean, or Kenny, I guess.
Can we just say that the Will Ospreay booking hasn't been the best?
No, it hasn't.
Okay, cool.
Because I
don't care how you feel about Will. It doesn't make sense.
Hold on. Is Will Ospreay AEW's current Cody Rhodes? Not WWE, not WWE Cody Rhodes, but AEW Cody Rhodes. A guy that they're doing everything in their power to put out over younger talent and doing everything in their power to ensure that he's nowhere close to the world title?
I think you're right. When you said Cody Rhodes, I was like, no, but then AEW Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know how many people probably hear that and be like, what did you just say?
Yeah.
But I think you're right.
I think I'm right too.
and I think it's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
Um,
Because, by the way, I didn't even say his name when we talked about a main eventer for All in Texas.
Yeah,
It
that's
should
not
be
good.
Osprey. It should be Osprey for that match.
I don't really know what we're doing.
So if Osprey wins, to me, he
I
has
do
to go for the
appreciate,
world
by the
title.
way. I do appreciate, by the way, we're like, yeah, the match will be awesome. However,
However, we're getting the nitty gritty here. That's what we do on
Yeah,
the Costa Rica.
yeah.
We're almost 2 hours, and we gotta talk
we're
about.
all about the nitty gritty.
If Osprey wins, he has to elevate up, and it's either he goes diagonally against Kenny Omega or Takeshita, which feels still in the same universe, or the world title.
Which won't go for Dynasty. He'd have to be challenging for the world title at Double or Nothing.
Yes, which plausible, certainly plausible.
Him versus Christian Cage or John Moxley.
Plausible, certainly.
It makes sense as the pivot.
Yeah.
They all of a sudden have a lot of baby faces that should kind of be winning the world title.
Yes.
And and funny enough, none of them are Darby Allin. Interesting how that works.
Kyle Fletcher, if he wins, he could do a world title challenge and lose ultimately, but I think him beating Garcia makes more sense.
Garcia. Yeah. Like that should be the goal. And win or lose, he can do that. Because it's the TNT, it's just a pivot, and then you got to build them up again with a big win. Blah, 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 easy. Yeah, this is a problem. I don't know how you book this match. I guess that's kind of going to be the fun of it.
Yeah.
It's a steel cage match, so there shouldn't be interference either. But the last steel cage match that involved Don Callis, there very much was.
Yeah.
So
we'll find out.
That was a great match, though.
I think this is so up in the air that I'm fascinating to see, and I think the match could be great, and I'm fascinated to see the outcome of it. I think legitimately this is a match that you have to watch live because you need to experience, I think, it live and the outcome of it live.
It's going to be interesting.
We'll find
It'll
out.
Be interesting.
Speaking of Takeshita and Omega, they're facing each other for the AEW International title match.
The real world title match.
Real world title. Takeshita versus Omega. I mean, fucking this match should fucking rule. Fun fact, they are number 1 and number 2 on my current Wrestler of the Year list.
Kenny
Omega, surprisingly, Wrestler of the Year, number 2 contender for having 2 matches.
He's had 3.
He has had 3.
No, enough of the disrespect to Brian. I don't give a shit.
Totally forgot about that.
Takeshita is on like another realm from the AEW roster for me right now.
Yeah.
So obviously it's very exciting when it's him and Kenny one-on-one. I think there are different ways to look at this. There's the party that's like, all right, prepared for Kenny to kind of be outmatched, right? That's kind of the story he's been telling.
Yeah.
Right. Or hear me out here, Ryan. We just forget that. And we remember what he did against Gabe Kidd. And we just go out there to put on the match of the year. I think that should be the goal. I don't care about, I'm old, but no, fuck that. I've done enough of the Kenny Omega.
But that was also like Kenny Omega before this recent injury span, right? Like this Kenny Omega has really just been like, I'm a badass. I guess you're talking about the Grand Slam Australia tag where he was sort of like the weaker of the four.
Tag or the cage singles, right? He sold the stomach a lot, and
true.
No, but this is what he's planting in our minds. And a guy like me, he did that in the Gabe match, but he also was just Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
And newsflash, everybody, what do you want Kenny Omega to be? Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
So let's just do that. You're wrestling Konosuke Takeshita and probably very likely beating him. Just go all in. Literally.
Texas?
Like, just do it. I'm locked into it. I think this is my favorite match to be match of the night. If it's not match of the night, I'll actually be upset.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this. Takeshita's like, he's here. Everyone else is here. And just like, go do the damn thing, Like,
Yep.
I know you guys can do the damn thing, so just go do it. And
I think this should be
losing to Kenny's a good thing.
I think it should be a fucking banger. I agree. I think Kenny Omega should win. Knowing Kenny Omega, though, there's always the off chance that Takeshita will beat him.
Yeah, Kenny, it's time for your Roman Reigns era, buddy. Enough of putting people over. Okay.
Well, it's also like you don't have to put him over because part of this story is that Takeshita has 2 singles wins. Now they could continue that and making a longer story of like Takeshita always beats Omega, and there's something interesting about that. But hey, get a win back. Takeshita still wins the feud ultimately, but Omega gets the win here, gets the title, and beats Takeshita, and then we have Omega moving on that down the line.
You know what?
That'd be
the
fun.
Sign to me is that I think Takeshita is going to be doing a little bit more of everything else than AEW. Is when he defended he defended the never open weight title.
Yeah,
not the international.
It could have been the AEW International. It's been defended there before.
Literally the stipulation for the belt is it's the worldwide title, and he just did it. So yeah, I need this match to rock. It's going to rock. Kenny should win, and this should lead to Kenny Okada main event, All In Texas, combining the titles to make a new world title.
I also forgot about that. It doesn't matter who the world title match is because the main event should be Omega Okada.
Yeah, anything that goes after that's just silly goose.
Yeah.
type stuff. Like, why would we put anything after that?
Yeah.
There's literally nothing bigger than Omega Okada in the States for the first time ever. A match that's many years in the making. Yeah, there's nothing else. And especially if we're combining the 2 titles, then it's just a world title match. So there you go. You're welcome, everybody. We fixed AEW for you.
AEW TBS title match, Mercedes Moné versus Momo Watanabe. You had a whole theory, I want to say last week or 2 weeks ago, about how this will turn out based off of Grand Slam Australia, and that immediately crumbled with Momo challenging here.
Yeah. My theory of fun got ruined, but I wasn't actually totally off. It is working.
Players are correct.
It's working towards Mercedes versus Athena very clearly on TV.
Yeah,
I just didn't get we dropped the Ring of Honor Women's title, which is fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
God forbid I want Momo Watanabe to win a fucking match in this world. That's hold a title match. I don't get that. Okay, so it's fine. I never get that.
You're used to it, yeah.
I am very used to it. I've been born in this hell.
Yeah. So Momo's gonna win.
Yeah, okay. I just appreciate Mercedes picking the right people. This should be real. It's really cool that this is happening on a big pay-per-view. Obviously, Revolution is kind of seen as the biggest show of the year, just traditionally, I think.
Yeah.
For AEW, so the fact that Mercedes seemingly picked Momo for this spot is very cool. It should be very good. I mean, there's no I don't know what world this won't be good. It's Momo Watanabe and Mercedes Moné. Based on what Mercedes has been doing with the top opponents. Looking forward to it. Should be a great time.
Yeah, I do agree with what I liked about
no shot, by the way.
Yeah, Momo's not going to win.
She has less of a shot than I don't know, everyone.
Yeah. I wish this was for even a different any pick one of the other titles.
Because you'd believe it more.
Well, but it'd be more believable. Plus the idea of what you talked about of in your theory was that if Momo was able to beat Mercedes Moné here, and you can do another challenge later and have her lose, but if she was able to beat her here, then it makes the Wrestle Dynasty Cup thing more meaningful. She's going to lose here, and that hurts that. You don't always have to win with those cups and challengers.
They clearly didn't learn from the Rambo.
Yeah, so I think I would love a shock, but it's definitely not going to happen. But what it does look like it's going to happen is Mercedes is going to win here. She's eventually going to have a challenge by Billy Starks at some point and win their
Dynasty.
And then
they're trying to push Athena out to All In, though.
Yeah, no,
obviously. So I don't know how
maybe not
the fact that
Dynasty,
they
but
started this early.
Billy Starks could be Double or Nothing, and just Mercedes doesn't wrestle at Dynasty.
Yeah, you could just keep teasing it. That makes sense. She could just pick another random person she wants to face. That's been most of her reign, and it's worked out. So
Because she also doesn't have to wrestle a Dynasty. Really, she doesn't really have to, or at least it could be someone else completely.
has she missed a
Because
pay per view?
what's that?
Has she missed a pay per view?
That I do not know. She There is Windy City Riot that same week, and there's a chance that she would probably just do that instead, and do a New Japan Strong title match. Plus, you
Mm-hmm.
also have to keep in mind that like
I don't
Ring
think
of
she's
Honor.
announced for that show.
I don't think she is either. I think she would have been announced, but we'll find out, I
Yeah,
guess.
because she got announced for Resurgence this week instead.
But Windy City Riot's also too far away. To be fair, they're for
Oh
New
yeah,
Japan.
but Resurgence is after.
Oh, you're right. It is after.
That's why it's weird.
It is weird. Well, anyways, Ring of Honor would be the week, the week after Dynasty, right? Roughly. So
Do
you
we know when that's happening? Because
no,
it's
they
not
haven't.
happening in Mania.
They haven't announced it yet.
What a brand. Don't get me on a Ring of Honor rant. We don't have the time.
My point is that like maybe they don't do the Dynasty match with Athena or Starks, and instead Athena has a match or whatever, and then Mercedes comes out at Ring of Honor and says, "Well," and does her thing.
Yeah, word for word.
It does this.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a good direction to go. It just seems a little too early. But if you have the plan to get there, fine. I don't care.
Billy being involved will help slow things down, but I don't know how much that is going to last.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moving on, singles match: Adam Page versus MJF. I mean, a rare MJF match I'm excited for, but it really is mostly Adam Page here.
I'll say it. This is the match I am legitimately most looking forward to because it has such varying possibilities.
Yeah.
But it's also Hangman Page. And I don't think I can come on this show enough and try to get this guy a world title. I think I do it all the time. I literally did it earlier.
Uh-huh.
I think his character work is second to none in this company. I think that he has told a fantastic story through the Christopher Daniels stuff into this. Unfortunately, it feels like he should probably lose because that is the Hangman story. After all, is he must go all the way down before he builds himself back up. And I think that makes the most sense of this being the final nail before he's truly full-fledged babyface again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that works. And I think this is the beginning for these two specifically. I don't think this should be the last match. They definitely should be working towards a stipulation match, and that, of course, is a Texas death match. So
All in Texas, is that still too long away? You could no, because that could be the third match.
I think that could work. I think you could get that there.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big enough match for him to stay for Bolt to stay out of a title.
You could do one in May at Double or Nothing, and then the third in July.
I would skip Dynasty for sure.
Yeah, third in July for All in Texas.
And I think there's enough reason to tell that story. I think this company can. I mean, they can tell it. We just watched Osprey and Fletcher tell that long of a story, right?
Yeah.
For them, I think. I guess not 4 months. Close enough. But with these two, obviously, they're kind of like the guys and have been since the start. While I'd love Hangman to win, he probably shouldn't. And because again, if he does, it's like, oh, we need another world title match. And it's like, how many world title matches do you want, man? We don't have that many, you know. So yeah, I think this is definitely an interesting match. I'm hoping it's a great match. It can be a great match. I want it to be a great match. I hope MJF, being as serious as he is now,
real
converts to the ring as well.
Agreed.
This is the closest we've been to Punk MJF in terms of that MJF.
Yes. I'm glad you brought this up. That was going to be my point.
That's the only good MJF.
Yes,
So
this is the closest we have gotten to the real idea, the real storyline idea with Punk that MJF has ever gotten to with Adam Page. With some weird fakeness with the Christopher Daniels botch on Wednesday, but we're gonna ignore that. But like I think this feud has been really well done. I obviously need to continue. In what way? I don't know how. I almost feel like MJF needs a win here. But
yeah,
to move it forward for Adam Page to continue. But yeah, I am very much interested. Plus, we just need like a heel, I think, to win one of these singles matches.
we're clearly working towards Hangman getting his song back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh
the pop at All In Texas for that song. I didn't think about that. That is a great point.
So much.
Yeah. His current theme I do enjoy though.
I do enjoy it. It's very good. It's the heel. It's really good. It grew on me.
Yeah.
Because I originally when they changed it, I was like, no. But now like it gotten good. But
it grew on me. It spread much like a raging fire. Too soon?
I also think it would be a great Texas death match. So
yeah, I agree.
And I feel like that should always be the end goal with Hangman Page. So
And finally, AEW Women's World Title Hollywood ending Falls Count Anywhere match: Toni Storm versus Mariah May. Making it a Falls Count Anywhere match makes it feel more like a backlot brawl. Which I hope is what it is going. I want this to ultimately be a backlot brawl. I want to see them replicate the OJ Simpson the runaway thing. So great. Dumb. I want all of it. So I think that would be ideal. I want them to drive to some sort of studio lot and film there for whatever reason. That could be fun. But yeah, I think it'll be something crazy and silly and goofy. This is obviously, again, this feels like a show of blow-offs in a lot of ways. This
AEW is in many ways their mania for that type thing. Now, don't look at the world title match when I say that. But everything else you can look at, you're like, oh yeah, I see it. Don't look at that.
So Toni Storm has to win here. Mariah May has to move on and be her own person.
Oh, this has to be it. This has to be
I beg, for the love of God, this has to be it.
I think from here you can have a Mariah May reconstruction of some sort.
Please.
Whatever that looks like. And I also think there is something to Tony moving on, obviously. I need this to be the end.
Yeah.
I also would like if this would be great. That would be really cool. But obviously I hated their last match, so I don't know. I don't know where we're gonna go. I think they can have a very good match. It just they're gonna have to go as plunder as possible.
Yep.
And as I think nasty as possible, because it feels like for the first time since the angle where Mariah turned, this actually can feel like the blood feud it's supposed to.
Yes.
We'll see. It's been the longest story ever told. We've been doing this forever.
Yeah, we complained about Ospreay and Fletcher for being too long, and that was 5 months.
Yeah, but we agreed this was too long when Mariah was champion and Tony was nowhere to be found. So
yeah.
Who should be the next AEW Women's World Champion? Since Mercedes Moné clearly can't be the option.
Well, I will say I would spin off Mariah May to have a feud with Harley Cameron. Number one.
I thought you were going to say Mercedes Moné. I was like, you are killing me.
No.
Harley Cameron actually is a good one. That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I had that thought, and I was like, that would actually be the good spinoff from Mariah
Where
May.
The fuck is Jamie Hayter?
I don't know. I would honestly
have a really good match in Eve if anyone cares.
Did she? Did you watch it?
Winter. Yeah, it was really good.
Oh, do you have a clip of it? Because I would like to watch it as well. If you have a
link. Of course, it's on their YouTube. Remember Willow?
Yeah, I would have Willow, Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander, why not? We'll throw her in there as well. Megan Bain, that
I
could
feel
be
like
fun.
Megan Bain should not get super fast pushed like Mariah did into the. Well, I guess Mariah was around for a year, but like, who's the big heel to face Tony Storm after Mariah?
Megan Bain.
It's Megan Bain because Mercedes
Who are-
Moné is a
who are-
little busy.
Who are heels that are currently on TV? Deanna Prazo? No.
Mercedes Moné.
Definitely not. That are currently on Julia Hart?
No.
Megan Bain.
You see the problem here, correct?
Uh,
You know what really worked well? Hear me out here.
Nyla Rose is
I
a
don't know
face,
if-
but I don't think she's
I
allowed on
don't
TV.
know if you
anymore.
remember. What?
Well, yeah, that's a political conversation. I
Oh,
don't think
dear
she's.
God.
I don't think she's allowed.
Oh.
Well, that's not a law. To be fair, not a law. You can do whatever
Okay.
the fuck you want.
Okay.
Queen Aminata, Two Face.
Okay. Just let me make my point.
Yeah, sorry.
Imagine here we are. If we had a perfect heel win at I don't know, All Out, for example, from a heel wrestler,
Yeah,
and
in a great match, maybe.
yeah, in a great match, and very obviously felt like the next possible heel world champion for this company, and instead we turned her babyface, and then the manager she was with disappeared forever.
You know,
Yeah, Chris Statlander would have been a great option.
You know who actually the option is? It's going to be.
You say Saraya, I'm coming through this screen.
No, Sky Blue. I saw a report saying that she's close to her return from injury. She's a heel. She's, I guess, a top heel in the division. Tony Storm is available. Sky Blue Tony Storm. Scotty's face is in his hands. Much mentally, I am in the same boat.
Sorry, Kamatani, I'll never say a bad word about you ever again.
Let's bring Suri over. Why not?
Oh no, no. Also not a heel.
Dream match.
That yeah. Listen, if we're booking that match, she's booking it for herself, buddy.
Good point.
But this is the problem. There's no heels.
Yeah, at least no like
world champion heels.
Over star heels.
Well, there is one. She's just busy with every other title.
Good point.
You know what we should do? Just give Mercedes all the belts. Who gives a shit? She's already the world champion without being the world champion.
Yeah.
What match? I promise I'm excited for this show.
Yeah.
We're just ending on a bad note here because now I'm broken.
Well, speaking about ending, we had 3 other topics to get to it, and we're at 2 hours.
Well, you said it last week to the people. This would be 3. So
yeah. So we're good to continue.
We're gonna truck on.
And other second point of business, Scotty. Should we record on Monday next week? I know we didn't talk about this, but should we do
instead of just instead of doing a Sunday night thing and wanting to die?
Yeah, do a Sunday.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Instead of doing a Sunday night thing and willing to die, or even a Sunday morning and doing the Revolution stuff, if we're both available, should we do a Monday thing? That way we can review Revolution, 3 nights of New Japan Cup, some I think 1 or 2 Stardom.
But we have to cap the
time at 2.
Oh, that day's Sariism.
On the 10th.
Mm-hmm.
I also have not a vet appointment. I don't have a vet appointment. I have a chiropractor appointment at 8:15, but I'll be here by 9. It's no big deal.
Damn, that's quick.
It's also it's like 5 minutes long.
Oh.
It's also my mother-in-law's birthday, so shout out to my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
We'll think about it. I'm trying for the next hour of topics. Think about it.
I mean, it's probably better than doing the night of after like doing 2 recordings. That probably makes more sense. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I figured since I know we're sadly both available, maybe it would make some sense on our end.
Is it a holiday?
The 10th?
Isn't AEW always a holiday?
If you consider daylight savings time a holiday, then
Oh
yes.
no, my never mind. My friend's just off Monday. He confused the shit out of me. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
I just assumed it was a holiday.
All right. Well, then we'll think about that. Well, let's talk about real quickly. Stardom or New Japan, Scotty.
We can do Stardom, I guess,
All right. Let's
because
do.
New Japan's all preview, right?
We'll talk about Fantastic Mania a little bit if we want, but
That's a good point. It's a good point.
let's do Stardom first. Both are basically previews and reviews, or both Stardom
Yeah,
and New Japan.
I forgot Fantastic Mania was New Japan.
That's fair. That's fair. Stardom. There was a couple Monday shows in Japan last week, and Stardom was undoubtedly the most interesting of the three.
Kill me with all these Monday shows, man.
I know. Stardom Path of Thunder was the event, and like I said earlier, a good show of what I saw of the last four matches. I'm sure the rest of it was solid enough. I don't know if you have any big opinions, Scotty, on the first five matches.
I don't know. I've talked about this show so much this week.
I know you have. So we'll go through.
No, there's nothing too much. There's nothing too much.
We'll go
through
through
how
this.
their pay-per-views go now.
Yeah, we'll go through this very quickly, I think. The other four matches were Tam Nakano and Sayaka Karara defeated Saya Kamatani and Natsuko Tora, where Cosmic Angels won, meaning Nakano was given a wish. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Hina defeats Miyu Amasaki to win the Future Stardom Championship. Hana and Saya Ida successfully retained their Goddesses of Stardom title against Crazy Star, and Starlight Kid retains her title against Arena to retain her Wonder of Stardom title match. The last two matches were great. Future Stardom title match was pretty good, and the tag match was solid enough for what it was, good enough for what it was, but a crazy wish for Tam Nakano, where her wish was a loser leaves Stardom match at the next Cork and Hall show, which is tomorrow, March 3rd. It's title versus town.
No title.
No title.
No.
It's loser leaves straight up.
Loser leaves.
Imagine the champion leaves Stardom.
Yeah, I know. It's why I think
that. To be fair,
that is my main problem with the stip.
That would be, honestly, though, the crazy back shit booking that only WWE knows how to do currently.
Yeah, that's true.
That I enjoy. Venkin Bjorn, thank you for the reminder. Live on YouTube as well.
They're putting the main event on YouTube. The rest of the show, not. Obviously, like, it was the biggest talking point for a lot of people after that show. Not me, because I'm built different. It was for me during the show, because I was like, what the? Because
30 matches have to go by while you're just sitting there being like, what the fuck?
So real time for everybody watching this show, and she says what she says, and everyone starts freaking out, and she looks like she had just said she was going to retire or something.
Wow.
And I remember, like, someone one account mistranslated the saying it was loser leaves unit. I was like, it's not loser leaves unit. I was like, there's no,
that reaction is too big.
I was like, there's more stakes at this. So I checked Japanese Twitter. It's like, did she say loser leaves Stardom, loser leaves promotion? I was like, okay, that is it. And then the reactions of this is what's actually happening. There was just a lot of like, excuse me.
Yeah. I'm fascinated by this stipulation.
And I've had a week of trying to talk about this, and I think
write about this. Shut up.
And write about this, yes. And I think there is a I need to stress this. There is no way in hell Tam Nakano is retiring from professional wrestling after this match.
Of course, she's going to go to Marigold.
Of course. And honestly, I think if wrestling was cool, that would be a hell of a way to tell this angle. But wrestling is not cool like that all the time. Yeah, so a lot of people are like, is Tam just going to retire after this match? I was like, unless something happened There's no way Tam Nakano is just going to be like, "Yep, I'm retiring on a week's notice." Not a chance in hell.
I think it's a bold assumption that whoever loses is retiring.
Right. It's that's the thing. For me, it's loser leaves Stardom. Why
Yeah.
would anyone retire?
Jay White lost 2 loser leave New Japan matches, and he's
Right.
still wrestling.
Exactly. My thought process, and again, if she retires after this match, I'll eat it. But for me, it's the start of her retirement road.
But if it was like a retirement match, why not just make it a title versus career?
I understand. I
Yeah.
understand. And that's where I think we might be going
Interesting.
at Yokohama Arena, because they want this to be the biggest number ever. How do you get the biggest number ever at your biggest show? You need something huge. I don't know what's bigger than that for them right now.
Yeah.
But anyways, with the loser leave Stardom match, they're very it makes no sense in the instant of how it happens, because it's like, oh, we're gonna fight to keep Sayaka Kurara in hate, and then she's like, what if we just were like loser leave Stardom instead of, oh, I just want the title match. And it's
Yeah.
like, hold on, what? But I do think it's a fascinating story. I think it's a very interesting story. I think it's
It piqued my attention, and someone that has had a very low Joshi interest in the past couple months.
I
It
think it's
certainly piqued my interest.
the most what's the word I'm looking for? I
Bold.
think it's I think it's the boldest possible match you can run. Cause like for me, it's like, okay, they're selling tickets. I don't think you need to do that just to do this. Like, yes, you've sold more tickets for the show, I'm sure, because it's a Monday night, so it makes it more difficult. But I think it's more than that. I think for Tam specifically, this is her angle. This is her idea, because I've watched Tam long enough to know when she has her fingerprints on every little thing going on, and she has them. To me, this is a story to start here where she loses. I don't see Saya Kamatani losing, because that would be
That would be
stunning.
extra bold.
If Saya, okay, I'll say this: if Saya Kamatani loses, there's a bigger story at hand that I am missing.
Yeah.
Because this is not a world title match, so it makes that a little bit more predictable, you'd think, but maybe that's the point. I don't know. But for Tam, to me, it's like, okay, how do we get her out of the company in kayfabe?
Yeah.
You know, maybe she does a date here and there in other companies to sell the story, which she should.
100%. That was my read. Is the loser of this is just going to tour other Joshi companies,
right? Which I think is very smart.
Not all Joshi
Not
companies.
all.
But
If we were doing all of them, it would be a hell of a story.
I would love that.
Like,
that would rule.
Like truthfully, if Bushiroad and Rossi were cool, this would be an awesome story to tell in full force,
Yeah.
right? Because that's the idea of this match to me. It's like everyone knows the timing and why this is like, oh shit. So I think that's why it's perfect. I don't think we can get that far. If we did get that far, again, it'd be crazy.
If we got Marigold Show, Tam Nakano versus, I'll just say Utami.
Right, anyone.
That would be
Tam
like
appearing even. It's like, holy, I think that's the thing. It's that I don't know how they could fully tell this story. If it's a story, again, I understand. I could just be wrong, because this is Tam, and Tam has made me look wrong many times. But I feel like the long game is she loses to Saya Kamatani again, and then to somehow get back in, whether that is someone wins the Cinderella and asks for her to come back, because ultimately, what do you win through the Cinderella? A wish. You don't win a title shot, you win a wish. That has always been the case. That has never changed. They just always have made it a title match.
Yeah.
Maybe a Cosmic Angel wins. They get Tam back in. I think that's a possibility.
Their wish isn't a title, but for Tam to be back in Stardom.
For Tam to be back. I also think there's a possibility to tell the story of.
I will say though, sorry, that I think that would suck for the Cinderella.
Oh, I do not want that. Yeah, I don't want that to be the angle here. I'm just, again, giving all options of possibility. My thought process is Tam loses, but puts her career on the line to get one last match against Saya Kamatani, Yokohama Arena main event.
Yeah.
That way, it's the biggest possible match for that show.
Yeah.
I think that's another pivot. Because listen, Tam is talking about retirement time and 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 time again.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a time where she was going to retire when she got hurt last time.
Yep.
She didn't. She's still here. And she's had another world title reign and all this good stuff. There's a lot of options here. That's the beauty and excitement of this match, though, is that it creates a story that I don't know. I don't know where we're going. But if I'm big brain thinking like Tam likes to do, this is the long game.
This is a year of retirements too, baby. So
it is. And if they were doing the retirement big match at a show, that's the one to do. Maybe she doesn't retire. Maybe she just literally leaves. That could also just happen, which again, I don't see happening, but if that does happen, holy shit. That would be crazy. And that's the fun of it. And I think they're being very smart putting this live on YouTube for free for everyone to see. It's the ballsy booking that has got them here. Whether everything has worked or not, which not everything has worked for me. I have been very open about that.
Yeah.
But this year, specifically since the start of 2025, a lot of it has been working for me. And this is the most insane thing they're doing. And I'm just excited to see how it all turns out.
Yeah, like I said, as someone that is, my interest in Joshi has been waning the past couple months because it's been a slow couple of months and everything. This definitely piqued my interest and it's very interesting. And they're obviously meaning to get as big of an audience as possible because they're trying to make it open to as many international viewers as possible, going live on YouTube for that main event. This is meant to try to, this is, if we're talking about the attention wars that is our I was gonna say political landscape, but pop culture landscape, if anything. They want your attention. Loser leaves start a match with the two biggest stars, wants your attention, and they're going to give it to you and allow you to see it on YouTube. It would be extremely bold for Saya Kamatani to lose, and I guess it's plausible because she's a champion of Wave. So it's certainly plausible, right? But Tam Nakano makes more sense, and especially if you want to go down the line of title versus career, that would make more sense. Which, by the way, she's going to retire and then eventually be like the booker and one of the trainers and like a wrestler of like her own promotion at one point. Undoubtedly, I could see that like the next 5 years.
Wow, that sounds like every Joshi wrestler ever.
Exactly. So I'll see that in the next 5 years.
Not every. Kara Hokuto shouts out, but most of them.
But I'm not a big fan of the Tam Nakano style of booking. Like I said, I think you're right that like a total possibility.
You either love it or you hate it. There is no middle ground.
Exactly.
Except for me today with this exact story.
You pitched that idea of someone winning the Cinderella tournament and their wish is for Tam to be back in the company.
Result. It's the scariest result.
But again, Scotty, after the 5-star, I wouldn't be shocked if we get another bullshit end of a tournament.
You would have vehicled both big tournaments towards Tam without her winning either one.
Yes. And it would be so incredibly frustrating. And and again, it's some of the reasons why I don't like the Tam Nakano style of booking is that like it sacrifices other things for her. And that's why it's plausible that is the end of the Cinderella tournament.
I got to give credit to Dylan for that one. He put it in my mind and it hasn't left since. It's my biggest fear of them all. I'll also say this,
she has to come back in the company at some point,
right?
But
based on her retirement, the idea of that everyone was fearing, when this was all going on right at the rip. Unless it has to happen for some reason, which again, I don't think she's retiring because they would have went all in on that.
Yeah.
It would be happening at a bigger venue.
Yes. if she was retiring, it would be happening to bigger venues. So that means the Yokohama Budokan is going to have her win the title off of Saya Kamatani. So she has to somehow.
Which I have to say, by the way, and this will come crazy for me, based on where I was a few months ago. Taking the belt off of Saya Kamatani right now or in the next 2 months would be a terrible decision.
Yeah. But again, for who? For Tam.
So, someone made a great point. Would Tam lose 3 big singles matches to Saya? I was like,
I don't know.
I don't know, but she's always shown a willingness to lose to this woman. So if there was anyone that was going to do it, it might be Saya. But that's the exciting part of this match. I don't know. I'm happy not to know.
I'm happy not to know either. I'm very intrigued about it. I'm definitely going to be watching tomorrow.
The Cinderella being right after it, scary.
Yeah.
Very scary.
Which, by the way, I imagine we'll get the Cinderella participants announced tomorrow.
Maybe someday. It'd be so sick if, like, I don't know, me, the guy that makes Joshi content, could make content about the tournament. But
I can't wait for you to write the next issue of the Joshi Informer and on Friday and like not have the participants. And it's the day before. I can't wait. I can't wait for that.
It is the fear. It is currently the fear. It's funny because I at least released my podcast that day and that. So it's like everything goes hand in hand and putting it together. And it's like, there's not even and I get emails from like Star and Bushi Road, like, oh, here, I get press emails. And like they tell me ahead of time, oh, there's a press conference happening this day. So it's like, okay, cool. Haven't got one of those yet this week. So
well, to me, that almost then implies that it could be the show. But I guess we'll find out.
Just put the bracket up. You don't need a big thing. Just put a bracket up with people's names.
So we'll find out there. I think it's a big time thing. I think Tam is probably going to lose to Saya, and we'll get a little bit of that touring to companies that they do enjoy. Tam Nakano versus Suri, is that plausible?
No, Suri isn't already booked.
Well, not this one, but
I mean, if someone had, the next one's not scheduled yet. She may announce it on that Monday. We'll see. Maybe
it just has to happen before the Yokohama Budokan.
That's true.
Because realistically, also is like, Dylan pitched the idea of the Cinderella wish gimmick, which I think would be incredibly stupid.
I don't think it was a pitch. I think it was a fear as well.
Tam doesn't have to be part of the company to have the title versus career match at Yokohama Budokan.
That's true.
Realistically speaking, she doesn't have to be. She can win that title and then re-sign a contract afterwards because Stardom is like, we want to have a champion that's signed to this company.
That I think that's part of the fear or worry or wonder here is, when Japanese companies obviously have these stipulations, it's like usually pretty extreme. Obviously, look at Jay White. I just think it's a storyline, though. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Tam's just going to Marigold for fun. That would be the biggest twist of the year, by the way.
I think it would, again, if this is about grabbing your attention, that would grab the entire world's attention.
Oh yeah, and it's why I wish we could all just work together and sing Kumbaya, because it would make for a really cool situation going on.
Imagine if Tam Nakano, Brian Pillman her way out of working Stardom to work in Marigold.
That would be crazy. But yeah, it's very interesting. They made that show must see. I wasn't at all. I barely wake up for shows anymore. I will be I mean, it's at like 7:00, so it's not really that bad. That match is scheduled at least. I think they said like maybe 7. I want to see if they actually have it on YouTube now. I think it was like 6:45, maybe our time or something. I don't know. There's a lot going on. It's scary time. It's very exciting though. Yeah, live, they haven't scheduled yet, but I'm very much looking forward to whatever this is. And that comes with my many ups and downs with Tam booking. But it's got me, and it's got you, and it's got many, many others. So that
Yeah.
means it's working. Let's just hope. Again, kind of with the John Cena stuff we were talking about earlier. It's all about the follow through as well. So we will see.
I think for time, if you want to hear more conversation about the rest of the show, check out one of the thousands of things Scotty has put out in the past week about the show. But the last two matches, the Future of Stardom match was really good, with Hino winning. But the last two matches, the Goddess of Stardom and the Wonder, were great matches. Hana and Saida, again, I love them. That's my tag team right
What a
there.
tag team. What
And
a team.
Rena doing a great job in her hometown versus Starlight Kid. Really outstanding effort there. But for time, again, I think check out any of Scotty's products, solo work, to hear more of that. The card for Cork and Hall, which is on Monday, like you said, rest of it is behind the, I guess, quote unquote paywall, but the main event live on YouTube. The rest of that card is going to be Hanako. Oh my god, it's gonna be. I don't know who any of these people are. Hanako
I'll
over
do it.
and
I'll do it.
I know all of these people, and I can say all their names perfectly. Hanako versus and Himi Uri
This is
versus
not good.
versus Aya Sakura Aya and Tetsuya Akira. Is what
Just
it
let me
says.
do it.
No,
Please just
I'm
let me
nailing
do
it. I'm nailing it. Six
No,
person
you're
tag.
not.
Suzu. This is also like on Stardust website, so this could also, to be fair, be Google translation issues. But I don't care. Suzu Suzuki, Huvia, and Tabata. These are two women from CMLL versus Suzuki, Kogamo, and Momo Kogo in a 6-person tag. So a little CMLL action here. Natsupoi, Sayori Anu, Yuna Mizumori, and Sayaka Kurai versus Konami, Raka, Renami, and Azusa Anabi.
Renami is Rena.
Yes, it is. Again, I'm looking at Stardom's website.
He's reading the words, not looking at the people.
I can't. I'm looking at the people as well, and I have to look at the words to know their names. But yes, it is Rena. You're okay. Shuri, Saki Kashima, and Hinen.
It's Hina.
This is an N at the end of it.
It's English translation by Google.
I don't recognize the person versus my dream team right here. Mayu Iwatani, Hanan, and Saida. Oh, but boy, baby, that's my dream team right there. 6-person tag. 6-person tag, by the way. Every single match is a 6-person tag, apparently. Micah.
Too big of a roster.
Waka Tsukiyama and Rion, thank you, versus Tekla, Mo Watanabe, and Natsuka Tora. High-speed championship match.
Hey, Sarah.
I know who this is. May Sarah and Fukigen Death, obviously the best wrestler in the world.
Obviously, you got that one.
Fukigen Death. Artist of Stardom title match. Starlight Kid, Azumi, and Mitsu Amasaki versus Lady C. Lady C still around? I guess she is. I don't know why I thought she would be gone, but she feels like a relic to me for some reason. Lady C, Tomoyaka Inaba, and Rana Yagami in the Artist of challenging for the Artist of Stardom titles. And then, of course, the main event being the loser leaves Stardom. Singles match, Sai Kamitani versus Tam Nakano. I nailed that, right?
That was an experience. All right, let's get to the last thing
on
the docket. You know there's a Noah show today?
No. No, I didn't look that up. Is there a title match happening? And
it was the double title match.
Oh, shit. Poops.
It was Ozawa versus Soya.
Oh, that was today. I forgot to write it down on my calendar. Oh, that was today. Whoopsies. Well, that happened. We'll talk about that, I guess, next week. Or maybe not. I don't know. Probably not.
It was a pretty big deal.
I know. No, I'm kind of mad.
It was also a lumberjack death match.
Well, that's less of a big deal.
Okay.
Who was it?
Just tell you what happened?
Dylan wrote a funny thing in the thing. What's that? What happened? No, don't tell me. Hold on. No. Don't tell me what happened. I want to watch.
We're never gonna talk about this next week.
Which was the lumberjack death match? Oh, the main event was also a lumberjack death match. Okay, I guess yes. Do the spoils.
Nah, I won't spoil you. You sound sad about it.
I want to watch it live, and I just spoiled myself because I knew I was going to get spoiled. So now you have to say it.
Oh, Ozawa defeated Manabu Soy. He's a double champion.
There we go. Heavyweight and national. Do you think they're going to
They've
combine the
gone
titles?
all in. That would be silly.
Yeah, I feel like it would be silly.
They've really gone all in on Ozawa, huh?
Oh my god. Oh. Also, by the way, up the card, Masa Kiyomiya versus Naomichi Marufuji. That's kind of interesting. But Kano and Kenta versus Ulka Sasaki and Kazuyuka Fujita.
I will be seated. I will watch your match.
And then
Marufuji and Masaki Miya was probably bad because Marufuji can't move. But
yeah,
you know.
True and Lacey got to the finals of the Junior Tag League.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They're fucking Rev Pro guys. How do they get to? Okay, all right. Anyways, yeah. So I guess that's a review. Even though none of us watched it. Fantastica Mania. Real quickly, it was a really fun 2 shows that I watched. I didn't watch any of the Wednesday show, but
should have been more.
I thought the Thursday show was really good. I thought the Friday show was great.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed both the shows. Are there any clear matches from you, Scotty, that you really enjoyed from those 2 nights?
Mystico and Verano was actually my favorite, which is the hot take I've learned.
Yeah, I was about to say, because my favorite was the Hechicero Barbenario Cavernario, which I think is not the hot take.
That is not the hot take. No, that is very much seen as the favorite. That was my second favorite, if it matters. I thought both matches were great. I thought Mystico versus Verano felt like a world title match, which I don't see much in CMLL.
It was. I don't know what you're talking about. It was.
I understand. That was probably the best MLW title match of all time. I mean that with most of my chest. I really liked everything I saw. I watched
both of the shows. You can watch all of it. Enjoy pretty much everything.
I watched all the singles. I also really enjoyed the tag the day before with Tanahashi and Ishimori were also in it. Just to give you an idea what tag it was. I thought that was really good. I thought the Dokkan Jr. versus Neon was very good. I thought Ultimo and Atlantis Jr. was very good. I thought Volador, considering he's hurt, did the best he possibly could against Templario in the main event. And then, I thought the second day kind of blew it away, though. I thought the last 3 matches were all very good to great.
Agreed. I thought that trios match with Volador, Magnus, and Ruggiero on the second night were really, really good. I thought the opener of that one,
Raider
versus really Maxstar, I thought that was really good. That basically what we're trying to get at. Watch all of both of these shows.
Yeah, watch Fantastica Mania because this is what they do every year.
And everything ruled pretty much. We didn't really talk about Sobran Jr. versus Mascara Dorada, but that was really good. The weakest, I think, of the 3. But still
of the
very,
3
very
that
strong.
night for sure. I think if it was on the night before, it would be more appreciated.
Agreed. But
and it was very, very good.
2 very strong shows.
I'll say this: for those 3 matches, I went 3 3/4 or higher on all 3.
Same.
That's how much I loved them. So
same.
That was a great show. Yeah, Mystico and Verano. I was watching it and I was like, holy shit, Verano's old as hell. How is he so good still?
Chemistry,
Verano doesn't jump off the page to you, but
but talking about going back to the CM Punk John Cena thing, it's even when they're really good, really old guys at this point, the chemistry of 2 guys can just supersede any of that.
I thought both of those matches were generally great. And I walk away very happy with Fantastica Mania once again. So it's a shame that it was just kind of a blip this year because it was just 2 shows. But it always delivers.
I didn't watch any of the Wednesday show. I believe Lucha Blog might have taped some of it, but even then, I think someone found it.
But they said, I know Lucha Blog said you didn't have to watch it.
Okay, well there we go. But yeah, so that's that. New Japan Cup starts this Friday. We talked about our previews for that last week, but before that is the 53rd anniversary show, which takes place on Thursday, March 6th in the Oda City General Gymnasium. We'll go through the card here as follows. First match, New Japan World TV title match. 15-minute time limit, of course. El Phantasmo, third defense, defending it against a mystery opponent. Scotty, who is going to be the mysterious lover for this match?
I think it's Baron Corbin.
And how do you feel about Baron Corbin versus El Phantasmo?
I mean, overall, I don't hate the idea of Baron Corbin here.
Mhm.
Um, I I don't know if it's Baron Corbin, but like it's got to be someone new if you're keeping it a mystery.
Uh-huh.
And like he said publicly, he wants to do New Japan, so like
Seems plausible.
seems like the way to go to me. How do I feel about it being El Phantasmo versus Baron Corbin? I wouldn't say that's the perfect matchup to establish him, but it's a matchup nonetheless. What is his name now?
The Bishop?
Bishop? The Bishop. Yeah, the Bishop. I think it's gonna be the Bishop. And I think I hope the Bishop has a good showing. That'd be cool. The Bishop's legit. I'll give him that. He's got a background and stuff, and he won a jiu-jitsu tournament or something I saw this weekend. So
Bishop Dyer.
Bishop Dyer. Hopefully his run in New Japan, if it starts here, is not dire. Yeah,
That's a joke I would make.
I know. Yeah, I guess that's it. This show this is the anniversary show. I guess this is on par with what you'd expect.
Is there
Yeah,
is there any other outside contenders you think? Like I was thinking like maybe like a Rev Pro person could be an outside contender. I guess Oku would be the only person. Oh no, Luke Jacobs. Throw in Luke Jacobs, please. I need to get him out. I need to get him out.
After our conversation with Luke Jacobs, this week or last week?
I think
We
this
didn't have
week.
it on this show.
We no Slack and conversation on Luke
I'm
Jacobs.
not. I don't know. I'm not as moved by it anymore.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Both of us have sort of been down on Luke Jacobs lately, but look, move him into New Japan. That is a new change of pace and the proper next step that he needs. So I
There's
would give
no
it
way
back.
it's Luke Jacobs.
Me too. I agree.
He wouldn't be a mystery person. He'd just be like popped up.
That's a good point. If it's a Rev Pro person, it wouldn't be a mystery.
It feels like it has to be someone big enough to be a mystery going into the match.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, for
the Bishop feels like the only plausible person. So
yeah, Baron Corbin's big enough.
Anyways,
I have the.
Is he winning the title too? There's a chance he might win the title.
I think it would be good if he lost. Like if he came in, or they just do the draw. That would work instead of just win straight up. Yeah, I think that would be better than just him beating El Phantasmo in his first match. I think that wouldn't be great unless they really want to make him a heel, which I guess they would. Because I don't know. And maybe it's not him. Maybe it's like fucking Katsuhiko Nakajima. That'd be crazy. That's not gonna happen.
What about Jake Lee? Scotty's face dropped.
Oh my god!
That also feels like someone they would announce.
New Japan traded Kenta for Jake Lee.
Is Baron Corbin American?
Fun fact: whoever gets
hold on.
hold on.
Is Baron Corbin American Jake Lee? Maybe not as much anymore.
That might be mean because I've at least seen Jake Lee have great matches. Singles matches.
Wait, it's mean to Jake Lee?
Yeah, because like he's had great matches. Baron Corbin hasn't had great singles matches.
Yeah, but it's also in the WWE system. So to be fair,
Jake Lee also did it against Kenta Miyahara. Yeah, you might be right. We'll see.
There's immediately a handicap when it comes.
I got to see what Bishop Dyer looks like.
That's fair.
That's fair. I've never seen that. I've
only
only seen Tom Pestock or whatever the fuck. He was at that sport. I think that's his real name.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Bishop Dyer. Do you see Bishop Dyer's challenging for the NWA World's title at the MLP show?
Oh yeah, I did see that. And
then Kaito Kiyomiya is going against Sheldon Jean.
He's a prospect that
they said it's the students. So I was like, that's cool.
What's his name? What the fuck is the guy's name?
Scott D'Amore?
Scott D'Amore. I was gonna say Tom DeLonge, and that's not right.
Close enough.
Close enough to the NWA. In a way. Second match here, Scotty. There's only one name in here that'll interest you, and let me know when you have a name that's interesting you. Second match, tag match, Scotty. Chase Owens.
Fuck you.
teaming up with Bad Luck Fale. Taking on the
Why
team
are we previewing the undercard?
teaming up
We don't have time for this bullshit.
against Hartley Jackson and Rohei Oiwa.
I just want to know, like,
Rohei Oiwa.
No, New Japan gained so much like goodwill over the past couple months.
Yeah.
And they said, what if we brought Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale back?
Yeah.
How much goodwill do we really have?
Yeah.
Not enough.
It's interesting that the cards and shows got better when Chase Owens left.
Who would have thought that the worst wrestler being gone was a good thing?
Third match here, Gato, Taiji Ishimori, and Sonata take on the team of Taka Michinoku, Taichi, and Yuya Uemura. So that's where you get the Uemura return. Mm-hmm.
How about that?
He'll beat Gato, probably. Fourth match, Drill Maloney and Gabe Kidd, Team Tryhard, versus Ren Narita and Yoshinobu Kanemaru.
Team Tryhard.
Not an interesting match to me. Not really that interesting. Fifth match. Oh boy. Hiromu Takahashi, Shingo Takahashi, Shingo Takagi, Tetsuya Naito, Yota Tsuji take on the team of Dick Togo, Sho, Yujiro Takahashi, and Evil.
I just want everyone to know that if you go on the New Japan website, are you on the New Japan website?
Correct. Yes.
Everyone's just their name, and then Evil is King of Darkness Evil.
He also doesn't have a clickable picture. Everyone else has a clickable profile picture.
That's why this dude rules.
Yeah.
He said you can't figure me out, and you have to say my nickname every time.
Semi-main event, 6-match IWGP Junior Heavyweight Title match: El Desperado versus Francisco Akira.
I feel like you've been waiting for this. I know
I
have.
I'm
very happy for Akira.
Very, very interested in this match.
He shouldn't win, but I'm into it.
He shouldn't win, but there is with the best of Super Juniors around the corner, there is a chance he could win.
They do love to do pivots.
They do love, especially going into a tournament like that.
Yeah, to add intrigue for Despy.
I would like Akira to win. I think that'd be a fun something fun and different. But then that leaves open Despy to winning the best of Super Juniors, and I don't want that. I want a new guy to win the best of Super Juniors.
Yeah, I think it's better to have Despy be the champion going in.
Correct. But this match will be really good. I'm excited. I mean, coming off of Despy's last title match of Fujita, Kosei Fujita, that really freaking ruled. So
feels like it can kind of have the similar feel to it.
Agree with Akira. So I think
they're doing all the right things with the junior division.
I agree. So I would love. I can't wait to see this match. Despy should win. Then we'll go into Best of Super Juniors. I don't think we'll get Best of Super Juniors lineups here, right? When do we typically get those?
Genesis.
Yeah, so we still got a month away from that. Main event, IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, Hiroki Goto's first defense against Hiroshi Tanahashi.
You know, I was talking about the very beginning of the show. I was talking about Old Man Graps. It's only right we end the show. Talking about Old Man Graps.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to will itself to being something very, 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 very exciting. I don't know if the wrestling's going to be perfect. I don't know if the wrestling's going to be great, but I know the feeling and the drama of this, potentially being Tanahashi's last world title match ever, will help bring it. And also, the track record between these two isn't very good for Mr. Hiroki Goto.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it all the more exciting too. I'm very much looking forward to it. I think it's a fine first defense. Obviously, there is no world where I am picking against Hiroki Goto. I don't think Tanahashi's picking against Hiroki Goto either as the president of this company. So it's a very fitting anniversary match.
Yeah.
Kind of cool to see, 2 years after the Dream Team went against Bishamon.
Yeah.
And failed. Now it's Hiroki Goto trying to finally beat Tanahashi 1-on-1. And he will, and I will be very happy. And then we can do the Yuji Nagata match at I don't know. They want to do it though.
Yeah.
So they're going to Sakura Genesis, I guess.
I guess so.
It's a fascinating start to the reign. Well, no, Sakura Genesis is the New
Is
Japan Cup winner.
I assume the finals of the cup is when they plan to probably do that.
Yeah, you can toss that on wherever you want.
Yeah, it's usually Nagata. It's not gonna be too long.
Be fun though.
Mm-hmm. It'd be fun. Yeah, I think it's a fun, nice little match here. Kind
Great
of
for New Japan fans specifically.
great for New Japan
Japanese
fans
fans,
specifically,
maybe
especially long-term New Japan fans. Decade plus, 2 decades, even. I think this is a nice little thing to sort of wrap up Tanahashi against Goto here. If I recall, I want to say they came up in the same dojo class. Back in the day when they went both, I believe they both went to the dojo at the same time. So to be able to have this match here, 53rd anniversary, that's nice. That's a nice little bit of business there for Tanahashi. And obviously Hiroki Goto. I agree. Hiroki Goto should probably definitely win and then go into the cup. And whoever is going to face him at Sakura Genesis, whoever's going to face him, probably whoever wins that thing is going to face him at Sakura Genesis. So, no, I mean, whoever wins the cup is going to beat him at Genesis. But it's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. Obviously, I think Hiroki Goto's whole thing was the journey to the title. Now that he has the title, he could easily lose in the month, and I don't think anyone would care. But
no. I think people would care.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah. I don't think anyone would be shocked.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't necessarily know if anyone would be fully shocked. I guess that would be the better thing to say. And yeah, and then we'll see what happens with the New Japan Cup. Obviously, Gabe Kidd will beat Hiroki Goto like I predicted. And as Scotty predicted, what did you predict? I don't even remember. Who did you
Dave.
predict?
Big Dave, baby.
Big David Finlay. So we'll see what happens there.
Big Dave. At
New Japan Cup. I forgot I had one I was gonna do a thing at the very beginning that I completely forgot.
A little late now, buddy.
Do you mind if I do it real quick?
Sure.
So one of the a fun little bit things that happened at the Elimination Chamber is when Cody Rhodes turned to The Rock and gave him his decision, and he told him to
fuck yourself.
And I thought that was fun. No, just editor place it at the very beginning. Place that in my fun little bits at the very beginning. All right, that is it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. I have been Ryan Knightsey. That has been Scotty Edwards. Scotty, give us some plugs. Give us your match of the week.
Oh boy, my match of the week out of everything we didn't talk about. Man, that's tough. Plugs. The JoshiInformer.substack.com each and every Friday. That is coming out, so you don't want to miss it. Pretty proud of it. We put a lot of work into that each and every week. This week's, I think, was our best to date. Obviously, it's only been 4, but I was really proud of it. What we did with that. YouTube channel, youtube.com/@ScottEWrestling. I got a 20-minute review on the Starlight Kid Arena match as a whole. Instant reaction, I should say. Also have the usual Friday 5-star Joshi show up over there, which you can check out. The MP3 version is in the description. My match of the week, since I can't pick Starlight Kid and Rena, and I can't pick
the tag,
any of the Fantastica Mania matches, and I can't pick the tag. Oh boy, what the frick, man? Oh, actually, I have a cheat. I forgot that I did a little stream ski on the Twitch thing. So I watched some cool matches. I watched some matches I've seen before, but the match I never seen before that I thought was fantastic was the Michinoku Pro 5-star match that Dave gave it once upon a time.
Yep.
Gran Hamada. I'm not going to go through all the names. There's a lot of names. Dick Togo's in there. Taka Michinoku's in there.
I think Super Dolphin in that one. I think he is.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Tiger Mask. Yeah, it was a great match. Great match. Insane how much they just keep going and going and going and going and going. That was awesome. That's from, should have given a date for the people. October 10th, 1996.
They had another very similar. They have a bunch of like those similar ones. Obviously, Michinoku.
They have a higher rated one on Cage Match.
Yeah.
Great Sasuke is in it instead.
Yeah, Michinoku Pro has a couple of those, but they also did an import of that match over to in ECW as well.
Oh, that's
So
fun.
if you want to see it in front of an American crowd, I think it's a 6-man and
That sounds right.
not a 10-man, but again, really that is a really good match. I've seen that match as well, and I think I went 5 on it as well, and it's a legitimately great match. My match of the week is going to be from All Japan from last week. It is the All Asian, the match that we both expected would be a great match, Scotty, and that was the All Asian Tag Team match between Astronauts and
watched that.
Yuma Anzai and Rising Hayato. That match,
I watched the main event and not that.
That's fascinating because I would have told you to skip the main event and watch only the tag match.
Main event was fine.
Yeah, the main event was fine. I went 3 1/4. But
That's exactly what I went.
Perfect. But the Rising Hayato Yuma Anzai versus Fuminori Abe and
Yeah,
Takuya Nomura, great match. I'll do a special shout out as well, just because it was also on that Monday and it was also the same rating for me. The Open the Dream Gate title match. Speaking of double champions, Yamato defeating KZ.
Oh yeah, I have that one locked in. I didn't get to that either.
At Dragon Gate. So spoilers for you.
No, I
and
knew
for
that.
me.
I knew that. I knew that.
A lot of triple champions in Japan right now.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough,
I'm very excited to watch that one. And good to know the Astronauts match hit. What did you rate it?
both 3 3/4.
Okay.
Both of them I couldn't get quite over, but I think I might be a low man on the Dragon Gate match. But to be fair, I think I'm genuinely a low man on the Dragon Gate stuff.
I would say I think you're just the low man on
Yeah.
Dragon Gate.
So I think that's what it is. But yeah, I would go check out those matches. But yeah, my plugs. I released the audio on here already. I did a watch along of the Royal Rumble predictions punishment of me losing the Royal Rumble predictions again. Where we did a watch along where I watched the Marine 5 Battleground starring The Miz, Curtis Axel, Bo Dallas, Naomi, Maurice, and Heath Slater. Heath Slater, I think, has 2 lines in the entire movie and barely is in it, but he's on the poster. It's a interesting show. You can hear my thoughts on it during the movie, and afterwards. Give a lot of thoughts on the movie. You can watch me in person, or you can listen to the audio and watch along with me watching the movie. So it's a watch along. You all know the deal of how those work. Other plugs. Count Out Pod, wherever you get social media. Patreon.com/Count Out Pod. I will have the next episode of The Ballot out, not this upcoming Wednesday, but next Wednesday. So go check that out. I didn't plug Hustle Loyalty Retrospect last week, I don't think, but I'm going to plug it again. I didn't plug it all show. Hustle Loyalty Retrospect, a retrospective series on the career of John Cena. We are in 2003, 2004. So I'm watching all that stuff now, but you can watch the beginning of his career up to 2002, up to his main roster beginnings on SmackDown in 2002. So you can hear all that, those first 2 episodes. 7-day free trial, patreon.com/counterpod to be able to hear those 2 episodes. And then $5 a month for the rest of it, plus all the other bonus content that you'll get, like Ichiban Sweetcast puts out stuff, the Ring Post Radio Quarterlies, trying to get more content out there from everybody, but we'll see how that goes. We'll be back. Scotty, you had my hour to think about it. What do you think? Monday of next week?
Yeah, we can probably swing that.
All right, let's swing that. Monday of next week, probably same time, I presume. Same time on Monday the 10th, and we'll talking about the 53rd anniversary show, 3 nights of New Japan Cup, a night or 2 of Stardom Cinderella Tournament. We'll see how that goes. And of course, AEW Revolution. And of course, how can we forget, Scotty, the debut of WWE Evolve? How can we forget on Wednesday that debut? So yeah,
are we supposed to watch that?
I don't know. I'm probably gonna watch it on Tubi, but we'll see. We'll see how it is. I guess
there's no crowd.
I know. Well, there's
So
like
weird.
some people. We'll see how. I just want to see what it looks like, I guess. But yeah, then that's and we're also gonna preview a crap ton of things. Holy crap! We got
Crap ton.
Teenage Sacrifice I don't know if we're actually going to preview it, but
All right,
TNA
man.
Sacrifice
You can't say a crap ton and be like TNA.
and Maple Leaf Pro has their night 1, night 2, but I don't know if
Oh,
we're
so
actually gonna
TNA.
preview it. Yeah, so TNA and TNA adjacent and Canadian TNA, even though TNA is already Canadian. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's it for us on this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. We will be back next week for an all new episode on Monday. Until then, enjoy your Taco Bell, everybody. Goodbye.